My farm is in the desert. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26. Journalists have two mouths. After taking note of the beef the customer wanted, Cai Hongming turned to Sangna, who was standing by the grill, waiting to serve a barbecue to the customer, and asked, "Sangna, do you want to go back?" The place where the yaks were bought was in Sangna's village, so he had to ask. He might have to call her family later to see what they needed so that he could help bring it over. Sangna's home was located in a small village at an altitude of more than 3,000 meters in the Shiansu Tibetan Autonomous Region adjacent to Qinghai province. It was deep in the mountains and the roads were difficult to walk. Usually, he had to run a long way to buy something, so every time he went there, he would ask what was needed and help buy it. Of course, the money for the purchase would be recorded in the account for buying cattle. Because it was a long way from home, Sangna rarely went back. She would only go back at the end of the year, or when Cai Hongming wanted to go to buy yaks. Sangna nodded repeatedly when she heard his words, and was very happy. She hadn't been back for a long time. She missed Abba, Amma and her younger brother Labba at home. The fat boy Sukancheng, who was listening nearby, said quickly, "Brother Bird, take me with you. I haven't been to Sangna's house yet." "What are you going to do?" "To play." Cai Hongming glanced at his fat body and scolded, "Look at your body. You're so fat, and you still want to play? Don't you know that Sangna's house is on a mountain plain with an altitude of more than 3,000 meters? With your condition, you'll probably be out of breath after running a few steps there. You still want to play? Besides, what will happen to our stall if you leave?" Seeing that he couldn't go out to play, the fat boy suddenly lost his spirit and didn't even have the strength to grill lamb skewers. At this time, Kidioji Shao came over and asked Cai Hongming, "Brother Bird, can you take me with you when you go to buy a cow?" "What are you going to do?" "I've been lacking inspiration for writing a novel recently. I want to go out for a walk and see if I can get any inspiration. I also want to pick out the white yak leather I want, in case the cushion made of pool leather doesn't look good." Cai Hongming curled his lips and thought to himself, with his level of novel writing, what does he need inspiration for? In his opinion, this kid is a bit unprofessional. Since he can't write novels, he might as well work on his computer. But this is someone else's business, and he doesn't need to worry about it. Anyway, it's not him who will starve to death in the end. After carefully looking at him, Cai Hongming shook his head and said, "You can't do it. You're too thin. The altitude over there is high, and your body can't stand it." The fat guy next to him looked at Kidioji Shao with contempt, thinking that his heavy body couldn't do it, and he wanted to go hiking with his bamboo-like figure. Don't let the wind blow him down. "It's okay, Bird brother. I've climbed the Horse Teeth Snow Mountain, not to mention the small hill over there. The Horse Teeth Snow Mountain is also in Shiansu. The main peak is Begida, which is called Lunbashi in Tibetan, meaning the highest Mount Zuni. It is 4,447 meters above sea level. It is named because it looks like a horse tooth and is covered with snow all year round." "Really?" Looking at his thin figure, Cai Hongming doubted the credibility of his words. "Really?" Kidioji Shao said seriously. Seeing that he was so persistent, Cai Hongming had no choice but to agree, but he still carefully reminded him that, if he felt unwell when he got there, he should stop to avoid accidents. Recently, the news reported that some hikers felt unwell when they crossed the Tibetan area and continued to walk, but they died in the end. He didn't want the people he took over to get into trouble. "I know, I cherish life more than you," Kidioji Shao said solemnly. "Brother Bird, I want to go too." Tuoba and you also came over. "What are you going to do again?" Cai Hongming said unhappily. "Just for fun." Tuoba and you said frivolously. Cai Hongming didn't care. He could drive one cow or two cows. Besides, Tuoba and you was in good health. There were few car repairmen with bad health. So he agreed, but not without conditions. That is, he had to drive a truck to carry the cows. Anyway, he had to drive there, so Tuoba and you agreed. Now Cai Hongming even had a car to carry the cows, so he didn't have to hire someone, and saved a lot of money on the fare. After closing the stall and returning home with Sangna in the evening, Cai Hongming saw his father sitting in front of the TV watching TV, while his mother was knitting a sweater and occasionally watching TV. His mother had no love for the Taiwanese TV series that his father liked to watch. It was not that she didn't like watching TV, but that his father was the only one in the town who watched these Taiwanese TV series. She couldn't communicate with others after watching them, which made her feel unfulfilled, so she was too lazy to watch them. "You are back, come and eat the grapefruit, I just peeled it," Maluan Feng called when she saw her son and Sangna coming back. Sangna was very well behaved. She responded and walked over to her, snuggling beside her and eating pomelo. Maluan Feng had always wanted to have a daughter, but unfortunately, there was a problem with the family planning policy, which resulted in her inability to have another child. She had always regretted it. After Sangna came, it seemed that she made up for this regret. She treated her like her own daughter. Sometimes even Cai Hongming would be jealous when he saw her. His mother had never been so kind to him. Cai Hongming also took a piece of pomelo and ate it beside him. When the TV program came to an end, he came to his father and asked, "Dad, have you seen green Gynoderma lucidum?" He put the Gynoderma lucidum given to him by the big male deer into the broken cave paradise of Yuding when no one was paying attention. Unexpectedly, this thing actually took root in it. He originally wanted to take it out to show the old people like Bagan to see if anyone knew this kind of Gynoderma lucidum, but now it was impossible, so he had to come back to ask his father. "I haven't seen it." Cai Shianfu thought about it and shook his head. "Oh." Cai Hongming was a little disappointed. "If you don't know it, then you don't know the function of it. If you don't know the function, then what's the difference between it and the grass growing on the ground? As for those things circulating on the internet, don't take them seriously unless you have done experiments to know that they are harmless, otherwise they can kill people." "Why are you asking this?" Cai Shianfu knew that his son would not talk about this for no reason, so he asked curiously. "You don't know?" So Cai Hongming told him about the big male deer who came with Gynoderma lucidum and asked him to treat the little deer. "Are you talking about Journey to the West or Strange Stories from a Chinese Studio?" Maluan Feng made it clear that she didn't believe it. "What Journey to the West or Strange Stories from a Chinese Studio? What I said is true. Those CCTV reporters saw it," Cai Hongming said confidently. "Reporters? Those reporters are just big talkers, talking nonsense all day long." When Maluan Feng heard the word reporter, she immediately became excited. She threw the sweater she was knitting beside her and said, "Do you remember the last mirage incident? A reporter reported that a mirage was found in the desert. There were tall buildings, spaceships, warships, and robots in it. It was comparable to an American interstellar blockbuster. I took a ride to see it, but there was nothing there except a pile of sand. Isn't that a scam?" "Mom, that mirage existed at a certain time, and the reporter didn't say there were planes, warships, or robots in it. He just said there were tall buildings," Cai Hongming kindly reminded. "It's all the same. Besides, isn't the mirage for people to see? How can there be time? Does the government charge for this?" "Mom, no one is going to charge you. It's just that the mirage is actually a virtual image formed by the light reflected by objects on the earth and refracted by the atmosphere, just like there is a big mirror in the sky that takes pictures of the things below and puts them somewhere else. It has a time limit and can't last long." Cai Hongming gestured to Maluan Feng with a mirror below, and Maluan Feng seemed to understand a little. "So that's how it is. Those reporters didn't tell me, so I spent $100 in vain and didn't see anything. Next time I see that reporter, I will slap him in the face." "Mom, it's $20, and there are 5 of you," Cai Hongming kindly reminded again. He mourned for the reporter in his heart. It's not a good thing to be remembered by his mother. He hoped that the two would not meet. What's wrong with 20 yuan? 20 yuan is not money. You can buy a lot of vegetables, meat and rice with 20 yuan. You really don't know how expensive oil and rice are until you run the household. You act like a rich young master all day long, with everything provided for you. And I'm the hard-working old woman who serves you too. In the morning, I not only have to feed the chickens, ducks and sheep, but also cook, and wash clothes for you. Finally, I have to go to the vegetable market to sell vegetables and clean the house. When I come back, I have no rest all day long. The TV series started. Seeing that his wife was still nagging, Cai Hongming hurriedly said, "The show has started, watch TV. What are you watching? Are you dazzled by the ladies with white breasts, big butts, and pretty faces? You are almost drooling. You, Cai Hongming, do you think I'm old? I was also a flower in the village back then, with a pretty face and a good figure. If I hadn't met you, would I have become like this? I didn't expect that you are starting to get tired of the old and love the new. If I don't teach you a lesson today." Cai Hongming, who was eating nearby, saw the fierce fighting and was afraid that it would spread to the nearby area, so he quickly made a gesture to Sangna. She also understood what was going on. So, the two of them quietly slipped back to the room to take a shower. Chapter 27. First try of fetal breathing. After taking a shower, Cai Hongming went to the stairs and listened, and found that there was no sound downstairs. For his parents, quarreling is a common occurrence, and it is mainly his mother who quarrels alone, as if she can't digest the food she eats without yelling at night, and she can't sleep well at night. Only his father's personality can stand it. If it was someone else, he would have hanged himself with a leak. Why not die? You can't beat them, and you can't win by scolding them. Why live and suffer? Her mother's surname is Ma, and the Ma surname was famous in the northwest in the past. According to the genealogy of their village, their branch was originally the descendants of Ma Yuan, the founding hero of the Han dynasty, and belonged to the kind of noble family. Of course, this is not the most important thing. The main thing is that Ma Chao, the son of Ma Teng, a descendant of Ma Yuan, a famous general of Shu Han, passed down the Ma family boxing here. Her mother practiced boxing with the children in the village since she was a child. She was strong and healthy and was the best among her peers in the village. Once, his mother went to the county with his parents to play and was harassed by a rogue in the county. She was angry and kicked him. Unexpectedly, she kicked the man's testicles and broke them. From then on, she could not be humane. The rogue's family was very powerful in Giling. Her parents took her to her relative's home overnight. At that time, the spring breeze of reform and opening up had already blown. Her mother was a person with a strong character. She didn't want to hide in her relative's home, and she was afraid of dragging her parents down. She packed up her bags and ran away to the south alone. How could a country girl with a pure mind understand the dangers of the city? At that time, the reform and opening up had just begun, and the market was full of people from all walks of life who cheated, deceived, and stole. Fortunately, she had martial arts skills, otherwise she would lose her money. But in the end, her money was stolen, and she had to live on the streets. When she was down and out, she happened to meet his father, who came out of a remote mountain village to see the prosperous world outside. Maybe it was the matchmaker's marriage, maybe it was predestined on the 3-live stone, or maybe it was the turtle and the mung bean that fell in love. His parents met inexplicably, and later his father brought his mother home. It is said that when his mother was brought home, the village was instantly boiling. Overnight, people from all over the country knew that the stupid son of Shanding's family in Kajia village had brought back a delicate and beautiful woman, and they all ran over to see. Yes, at that time everyone confirmed that his mother was a delicate and beautiful woman, but as for why she evolved into a strong and sturdy woman later, it is unknown. His father once thought deeply about this problem and thought it might be because of the mountains and rivers in the northwest. The mountains and rivers of one place nurture the people of one place, and how could such a woman be nurtured in the mountains and rivers in the south? Of course, these words were said by the father and son in private, and they did not dare to let his mother know. If she knew, Cai Hongming did not dare to imagine what the consequences would be. In the living room, after Ma Luanfeng finished yelling, she immediately felt refreshed, but a little thirsty, so she poured a glass of water to drink. She accidentally saw Cai Hongming sitting on a chair with his legs crossed and watching TV leisurely. She got angry for no reason, frowned, and was about to preach again. Cai Hongming was very perceptive. Seeing that she was about to nag again, he asked slowly, "What strange things have happened in the town recently?" When Ma Luanfeng heard it, she also forgot about what she was going to nag, and sat next to Kai Shianfu stealthily, whispering in his ear mysteriously, "I tell you, recently Ali in the east of the town found another man, who knew that the man was not a good guy, and actually harmed her daughter, and gave birth to a little girl." Cai Hongming grabbed the handrail of the stairs and listened carefully, and couldn't help but shook his head secretly. His mother is just like that. She says whatever she wants. She is careless and has a hot temper, but she has no malice. She is just more straightforward. Sometimes she and her father quarreled without knowing what they were quarreling about. Typical heartless. Only his father could take the lead, but it might not be the case for others. Although his mother was the one who made the decisions at home, and was the loudest when quarreling, if his father got serious, his mother would immediately be as obedient as a cat, which can be said to be one thing conquers another. Brine can make tofu. After returning to the room, Cai Hongming locked the door, and entered the ruined paradise in the jade tripod. The ruined paradise was still the same as before, about 10 meters in radius, surrounded by mist, and there was no change. The big stone standing in the middle was still as mottled as before, but under the nourishment of the jade toad liquid, it slowly improved, and became a little more moist. After the jade toad liquid was absorbed into the ruined paradise, it floated above the big stone, fell on the big stone drop by drop, and was refined and absorbed by the big stone. After the big stone absorbs the jade toad liquid and restores its previous spirituality, the remaining jade toad liquid will be used to nourish this broken paradise, allowing it to return to its former state, when spiritual energy was abundant. However, it was unknown how long it would take for it to recover, so Cai Hongming never thought about it. After the blue Ganoderma lucidum that the big deer brought in was casually put in, it accidentally fell next to the big stone with the word Divine Paradise written on it. The big stone itself was filled with spiritual energy, and the Ganoderma lucidum was nourished by the spiritual energy next to the big stone, and it actually came to life, and took root next to the big stone. Cai Hongming looked at the blue Ganoderma lucidum, and found that in just one day, the originally dry blue Ganoderma lucidum became shiny and full of spirituality, and the blue color became purer. He didn't know what this thing was for, but since it was brought by the big deer, it must be a treasure, so he left it like this for the time being. In terms of intuition, humans can never compare to the animals in the mountains. After taking a look, Cai Hongming left the broken paradise, took out the jade tripod and the white gold dragon seal, to absorb the essence of the bright moon. Tonight, he wanted to try out the effect of the jade toad liquid made from the bright moon essence. While the platinum dragon seal and the jade tripod were absorbing the bright moon essence, he took out the translated text and the golden silk from under his pillow and read them carefully. In the past few days, he had memorized the text and the images drawn on it, but he was still worried that he had remembered them wrong, so he planned to check them again. He would practice this ancient guiding technique in a while, so he dared not be careless. With the help of the platinum dragon seal, a drop of jade toad liquid quickly condensed in the jade tripod. Cai Hongming took it out and mixed it with water. In fact, the jade toad liquid stored in the space could also be taken, but he didn't want to take it. After mixing the jade toad liquid, he drank a sip, then sat cross-legged on the bed and practiced according to the formula of the fetal breathing sutra recorded on the golden silk and yellow silk. The fetus is formed from the dome and ki, and the ki is exhaled from the fetus. When ki enters the body, it is called birth, and when the spirit leaves the body, it is called death. Knowing the spirit and ki can make you live forever. Stick to the void to nourish the spirit and ki. When the spirit moves, the ki moves, and when the spirit stays, the ki stays. If you want to live forever, the spirit and ki will be in harmony. The mind does not move. There is no coming and going, no going out, and no coming in, and it will stay naturally forever. Do it diligently, and this is the true path. The words of the scripture flashed through his mind, and Cai Hongming swallowed and exhaled, making the ki go in and out of his nose. Then, he made hand seals according to the image on the golden silk, swallowed the water diluted jade toad liquid in his mouth 36 times, and then stretched his limbs, drew fresh air into his nose, but did not swallow it into his throat, but raised his head to draw the air into the body, and spread it throughout the body, and then stretched and guided his hands and feet according to the image. When the water-diluted jade toad liquid entered his body, Cai Hongming felt that all the cells in his body seemed to cheer, and he felt uncomfortable everywhere. That feeling was like a fish that had been basking in the sun off the shore returning to the water, or like dry plants being moistened by rain, and suddenly a breath of life was injected into the body. He felt his heart sprout. This feeling was very mysterious, and he quickly sank into his heart and carefully felt it. The essence was moving, the key was silently wandering, the spirit was mixed and moving, and the heart was clear and motionless. In the darkness, Cai Hongming seemed to have realized something, and his mind was intoxicated and lost. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 29, Las Meadow. Coming from Gansu County, the car traveled on the township road. The township road is a cement road, which is easy to drive on, but after a while, when entering the mountainous area, the cement road becomes a dirt road. The dirt road in the mountains is bumpy and very difficult to drive on. Fortunately, the desert truck has good performance, otherwise it would have been scrapped long ago. In the mountainous area, there are vast mountains on both sides and a mountain stream below. The sky here is particularly blue and the air is particularly fresh. The car drove forward for a while, and Cai Hongming asked to Oberenu to stop. The mountain road gradually became smaller and more rugged and difficult to drive, so it is better to park the car here. He also parked here when he came here before, and drove away when he went back. The mountainous area is sparsely populated, and sometimes you may not meet a person in a month, if you are unlucky, so there is no need to worry about the car being stolen. After getting off the car, everyone continued to move forward. The scenery in late autumn is so charming. In the woods beside the mountain road, leaves of various colors, such as golden, white, ochre, dark purple, and dark green, have fallen to the ground. The thick leaves have woven the woods into a colorful and beautiful carpet, which makes people pause, linger, and forget to return. But Sangna was eager to return home, and she didn't pay attention to the scenery on the roadside at all, and walked forward quickly. After walking through an S-shaped curved mountain road and climbing over a hillside, you can see the village Las Meadow where Sangna's home is located. Las Meadow, in Tibetan, means a place where flowers bloom or fairies descend to the earth. If it comes in spring, you will see wildflowers in the hillsides and valleys here. The purple air of the corydalus is lingering, and the leatherleaf wormwood is white like snow waves. It's a pity that it is now late autumn. The green grass on the ground has turned yellow. The wildflowers have long lost their petals and turned into seeds, either buried in the ground or blown away by the wind, and the lush forests beside the forest have also become bleak, with colorful fallen leaves covering the ground. There is a small clear lake in front of the village of Las Meadow. A stream originating from the Great Snow Mountain meanders down from the mountains all year round. This is the source of life for the village. The village is treated as their mother. Every Tibetan New Year's Eve, they hold a grand celebration by the lake to repay the Great Mother's nurturing grace. Approaching the village, a row of white pagodas appeared on the roadside. The white pagodas were built entirely of stone, and the bottom and surroundings were inlaid with exquisite prints of Buddhist stories. Going forward, it is the house where the villagers of Las Meadow live. These cottages are built against the mountain and made of stacked stone slabs. They look simple and unique, exuding a deep, heavy, and steady atmosphere. Arriving home, Sangna immediately ran forward like a wild horse, but saw that her father had already been waiting at the entrance of the village with his younger brother Laba. Cai Hongming hurriedly stepped forward and called out, "Uncle Basung, why did you come out? It's unreasonable for the host to sit at home when guests are here." Basung smiled heartily and welcomed Cai Hongming and others into the living room. Food had already been prepared on the table in the living room, including roasted lamb, sampa, cheese, various fried foods and hot milk tea. Basung's home was decorated with typical Tibetan culture. When Cai Hongming and others sat down, Sangna's mother took the copper kettle and poured them the hot milk tea that had been prepared long ago. It was already noon when they arrived here. After walking for a while, they had consumed a lot of energy. It was undoubtedly a very enjoyable thing to sit down and drink a sip of hot milk tea and eat something. Sangna's family was originally considered a middle-class family in the village. But once, his father Basang accidentally fell into a ravine when he went to the mountains to graze, causing several broken ribs and calves. As a result, he spent a lot of money, which cast a shadow on this originally not so rich family. In the end, he spent all his family's wealth and scraped together the medical expenses. Although Basang's injury was healed later, life at home became difficult. Sangna and her brother studied in a town school. Although they did not have to pay tuition, they had to live in a boarding school because it was too far from home. Therefore, they had to pay boarding fees, textbook fees, food fees and other expenses. Although the money was not much, it was a big burden for this already impoverished family. Therefore, Sangna dropped out of school to work and let her brother go to school. Later, she went to Cai Hongming's barbecue stall to help. With the money she earned, the family gradually improved. Cai Hongming learned from a conversation with Sangna that the sheep there were sold very cheaply, so he was tempted. Of course, he also had the idea of helping them, so he drove to buy sheep from them. Later, when they got to know each other, he suggested that Basang raise white yaks. Although sheep can be sold quickly, the climate in the mountains is changeable. Sometimes it snows suddenly, and the sheep can freeze to death, and more sheep die in the winter. Moreover, it is difficult to manage too many sheep. Now the local government is promoting white yaks as an industry. There is no need to worry about the lack of sales, and the price will gradually rise. The important thing is that yaks are rough and hardy, and they will not die easily even in the harsh weather of 50 degrees. After listening to Cai Hongming's words, and with his repeated promise to buy and help with funds, Basang started to raise white yaks. Later, Cai Hongming brought sweet potato and corn seeds from home for him to plant. No one here grows these things, most of them grow barley and potatoes. This is the most speechless thing for him. It's potatoes again, can't we grow something else? Although sweet potatoes and corn can only be grown for one season in the climate here, it's also very good. Corn and sweet potatoes have high yields, and are both good feed. After the corn is harvested, you can eat it yourself, or feed it to cattle, and the corn stalks can also be crushed to feed cattle, not to mention sweet potatoes. Almost all of the body can be eaten. In winter, when there is no grass to feed cattle, you can use corn and sweet potatoes. If you master it well, you don't have to buy feed all year round, saving a lot of money. In this way, the cattle raised basically don't cost much. So after a few years, the villagers saw that it was profitable and switched to raising yaks. In fact, no matter whether it was sheep or cattle, there were traders coming to buy them, but because it was a remote mountainous area, the prices were often kept very low, and the villagers actually got very little money, so they had always lived in poverty. It was not until Cai Hongming came and raised the price of buying sheep that the people in Lasmito village gradually became wealthy. After drinking hot tea and eating, the empty stomachs were full and people were much more energetic. At this time, Cai Hongming asked Basang, "Uncle Basang, are the yaks I want ready?" "They are ready, and waiting for you to take them when you leave." Cai Hongming nodded. He had been doing business here for so long, and knew that the people here were simple and honest and there would be no tricks. He was very relieved. After thinking for a while, he said, "Uncle Basang, if there are any white yaks next year, please leave one for me. I want to take it back to raise." It's funny to say that when he saw the pure, white and lovely white yaks in the scenic area for the first time, he felt that this thing was the messenger of the sacred mountain and could not be desecrated, let alone eaten. But when he saw the white yaks raised by farmers, he immediately abandoned this idea. The white yaks raised by farmers are completely different from those in the scenic area. They are sloppy and dirty. Not to mention the lumps of dirt here and there. The originally white hair has turned black. It is no different from ordinary cows, so he feels at ease to eat it. He just thought of the cows in the scenic area. The cow's hair was combed soft and washed white, and they looked pure and flawless, so he wanted to raise one for fun. When Basang heard this, he immediately patted his chest and said, "No problem, I will definitely prepare the strongest calf for you." Chapter 30, Master Kangju. Please click to recommend and collect. After a rest after eating, Cai Hongming, under the guidance of Basing, went to look at the white yaks to be bought. Generally, from August to October every year, white yaks are the fattest. As the weather gets colder, they will slowly lose weight. Generally, herders will choose to sell their cattle at this time. If they don't sell them, they won't be able to sell them at a good price. Cai Hongming would come to buy cattle every once in a while, so he installed a small scale here to weigh them. In the past, people who came to buy cattle from them never weighed them. They just shouted and estimated the weight. This made people feel very uneasy. Cai Hongming used the scale to let them see it, which undoubtedly made them feel much more at ease. When he came to Shiansu, an old Huhu man who sold ramen not far from his home knew that he was coming to buy cattle and insisted that he help take 5 yaks back. He said that, no matter how many there were, the price would be calculated according to the market price when transporting them back, and he would also give the car fare and hard work fee. Since they said so, and they were all familiar villagers, it was hard to refuse, so he agreed. So he had to buy a few more cows this time. After weighing the cows, marking them, and driving them to a special place for cattle, Cai Hongming gave the money he brought to the seller. He was always very straightforward in cash transactions, unlike some cattle dealers who would wait until the cattle were sold before paying. Although those people were always very trustworthy, the sellers of cattle were inevitably worried. He didn't like it, and his home was so far away from here, and he felt it was not worth it to make a trip for a little money. After dealing with the matter, it was already afternoon. Geelong is very far away from here, and it is impossible to go back and forth in one day, so they will stay here overnight. Cai Hongming had already told Tuoba Niu and the others when he came here, and they knew it. But it was still early to go to bed, so Cai Hongming suggested going hiking. Tuoba Niu didn't like this, and shook his head repeatedly, and Ki Dioji Sheo just let him do it. Cai Hongming ignored them, talked to Basing, and walked up the mountain. This is the most beautiful season in autumn. The scenery is so beautiful that it is incredible, so he wanted to take this opportunity to walk up the mountain and take a few photos. There is a Lama temple not far behind the mountain, and he wanted to go and see it. An old Lama and a young Lama live in the Lama temple. The amazing thing is that the old Lama can speak Chinese. I remember that when I went there for the first time, I was almost scared when I heard him suddenly greet me in Chinese. That time he went to climb the mountain. He wanted to climb to the highest point of the mountain to enjoy the plateau scenery, but unfortunately he couldn't find the way up, so he had to come down. When he was depressed, he found that there was a temple between the cliffs, so he ran over to see it. Later, he learned from Basing that it was a place for a master to practice, and it had existed for a long time. Cai Hongming took pictures with his mobile phone while walking, wishing to put all the beautiful scenery in front of him into his mobile phone. After a while, I suddenly heard someone calling from behind, and then I saw Sangna running over breathlessly. "Why are you here? Why aren't you at home with your brother?" "No, my mother is with Laba. I'm worried about you going up the mountain alone, and I want to go see Kizu." Kizu is a little Lama in the Lama temple, about the same age as Sangna's brother. Sangna has always treated him as her brother, and would go to see him when she came back. Seeing that she was carrying a backpack, I knew she was ready, so I didn't try to persuade her, and walked forward together. It's better to walk in pairs, at least one person can help take pictures, instead of taking selfies. The sky was clear, and the two of them walked forward on the colorful carpet of colorful fallen leaves, accompanied by the gurgling mountain streams, wandering in this quiet world, which is undoubtedly a beautiful thing. There are not only forests on the plateau, but also grasslands, which are where herders graze. In recent years, the local government has advocated herders to go down the mountain and close the mountains for forest cultivation, but the habits left over for hundreds of years are not so easy to change, and many people don't want to go down. Land is the root of farmers. Grassland is the blood of herdsmen. These bloods have long been integrated into their bodies and cannot be separated. How can they give up? Looking at the grassland, Cai Hongming suddenly remembered that he seemed to have never asked Sangna and her friends whether they had cordyceps sinensis, so he asked, "Sangna, do you have cordyceps sinensis here?" "Yes, but very little." Sangna blushed for some reason. She was very angry when she talked about this. After her father was injured, in order to supplement the family income, she and her mother took her brother Laba and others to the mountains to dig cordyceps sinensis. As a result, they climbed 4 mountains and walked through several grasslands to dig 4, 2 of which were broken. She was so angry that she almost threw the things away. What made her most angry was that her silly brother didn't look for it much, but actually dug 8. She worked so hard and her eyes were almost blurred before she found 4. She was really angry. Cai Hongming touched his chin, wondering if he should come to dig cordyceps sinensis next year. He had seen and eaten cordyceps sinensis, and there was also one at home, but he had never dug it. After thinking for a while, she said, "Then tell me when you dig cordyceps next year, and I will come and try it too." "Well, but we don't have much cordyceps here." Sangna nodded and then said, "Last time my mother and I went to dig, we only dug 4 after a day of digging." This was originally an embarrassing thing, and Sangna planned to keep it to herself, but she was afraid that Cai Hongming would be angry if he didn't dig up cordyceps, so she had to tell him. It doesn't matter. Cai Hongming didn't care how much cordyceps he dug, he just enjoyed the process. After walking across the grass and over a mountain, Cai Hongming saw the destination of this trip, the Lama Temple. The Lama Temple was a cave carved out of the stone, so there was no light inside, and it was a little dark. Only when the sun shone in the morning could it illuminate the inside, and at other times, a scented oil lamp would illuminate the dim cave. After walking through the steep stone stairs between the cliffs, Cai Hongming and Sangna came to the Lama Temple. The little Lama Kizu inside heard the sound of their conversation and stood on a platform in front of the temple early to wait. Sangna looked at it and took out a toy from her backpack and gave it to the little Lama Kizu next to her. Kizu looked at it and laughed happily. At this time, Master Kangju came out from inside. This master is a very knowledgeable person. It is said that when he was young, he traveled all over China alone and went abroad. He not only knows Chinese and English, but also speaks a few words in Cantonese and Minnan dialect. He has a wide range of knowledge about Han culture and various schools of thought. When Sangna saw Master Kangju, she hurriedly knelt down and bowed. The names of the people in their village were all given by Master Kangju, and they would come here every year to receive the master's blessing by touching their heads. "Get up, child." After accepting Sangna's kneeling, Master Kangju blessed him with his hand touching his head and said gently. Sangna stood up and continued to watch Kizu play with toys. "It's cold outside, come sit inside," Master Kangju said to Cai Hongming, and walked in first. Cai Hongming clasped his hands together and followed him in respectfully. Almost every time he went to Lasmido, he would go to the temple. After a few visits, he became familiar with Master Kangju. Without the mysterious religious color on him, he felt that the old Lama was just a kind elder, so he treated him as an ordinary person in his heart, but he respected the old man very much. Such a learned person, but he could practice in this high mountain cave for decades, day after day. It is impossible not to respect him. Chapter 31 Alangzi. In the grotto, a lamp was shining faintly, and the stone Buddha statue in the middle looked at the world with compassion in the dim light. It was rare for someone to come, so Master Kangju specially made butter tea to entertain Cai Hongming and Sangna. Butter tea is not very delicious because it is salty and has a layer of yak butter floating on it, but it is delicious if it is paired with sweet snacks. For example, peanut cakes, osmanthus cakes, thousand-layer cakes, southern Fujian white fragrant cakes, and the unique crispy moon cakes in my hometown. Just thinking about it makes people drool. Of course, in this cold plateau grotto, don't think about those things, so as not to waste your feelings. Cai Hongming picked up the butter tea and drank it, otherwise the layer of oil on top would condense together when it got cold, and it would not taste good. Sangna was drinking butter tea while eating the junk food she brought with the little Lama Kizu. The food included potato chips, French fries, shrimp chips, shrimp strips, ham, pork elbows, spicy chicken feet, etc. It made people drool, especially the crunching sound of eating shrimp chips that could be heard from time to time in the cave, which was very annoying. Cai Hongming glanced at her and felt that this girl was too tactless. Didn't she see that Master Kangju was here? She didn't know how to greet him, and she started eating with the little Lama. Even if she didn't greet him, did he have to greet herself? She didn't say she didn't want to eat. What a child who doesn't know manners. In order to let Sangna know manners, Cai Hongming winked at Master Kangju and smacked his lips. She was well behaved and immediately brought 2 bags of potato chips. Cai Hongming took it and gave a comforting smile. The child is teachable. Master, please. Cai Hongming opened a bag of potato chips and placed it respectfully in front of Master Kangju. Master Kangju was not polite and started eating, but he stopped after eating a few slices. The ancients once said, although the fat, thick, sweet and crispy food is delicious, it should leave a little aftertaste. This means that, although delicious food is delicious, you should not eat too much, but leave a little aftertaste. It's like you like to eat Guangzhou's Shenjing roast goose. You may be obsessed with its deliciousness after eating a few slices, but if you are given 2 or 3 roast geese to eat, you will probably get tired of it. Master Kangju also means this. Seeing that he didn't eat, Cai Hongming felt embarrassed to eat more, so he ate a few more bites, drank the butter tea, and gave the remaining potato chips to Sangna and the others. The 2 sat there, and Cai Hongming told him about his recent experiences, and occasionally shamelessly discussed the philosophy of life and his perception of everything in the world with the knowledgeable Master Kangju with his junior high school education. Master Kangju listened patiently, occasionally gave some advice, and was not bored at all. In fact, Master Kangju also liked people to come and talk to him. After all, cultivation is not about being in isolation, nor can it be isolated from the secular world, which is not conducive to cultivation. Especially the little llama. No one is with him, and he has undoubtedly lost his childish innocence. He once thought about letting him go to school, but unfortunately the child did not go, fearing that he would be lonely here alone. After talking for a while, Cai Hongming suddenly remembered the matter of the green Ganoderma lucidum, thinking that Master Kangju had rich experience and extensive knowledge, and might know about it, so he asked, Master, I wonder if you have seen green Ganoderma lucidum? Green Ganoderma lucidum? Yes. Master Kangju thought for a while, nodded and said, indeed, I have seen it. I saw it in a wealthy family when I was traveling. The color of that Ganoderma lucidum is like the leaves of early spring, unusually green and bright. I think it is the green Ganoderma lucidum you mentioned. Oh, then Master, do you know what the green Ganoderma lucidum is used for? Cai Hongming asked again. The Sheneng Herbal Classic records that Ganoderma lucidum is also called Langxi and tastes sour and flat. It improves eyesight, replenishes liver qi, calms the spirit and soul, and is benevolent and forgiving. If eaten for a long time, it can make one light and immortal. Taoist books also record that when Chen Shangsu, a Taoist priest in the Song dynasty, first entered Taoism, he had a drink with a woodcutter and suddenly fell to the ground. He dreamed of entering a cave, eating Ganoderma lucidum, and then fasting. There is also a record in the records of spiritual objects in the universe. There are many green spirits in the rocks of Laosu Mountain, and they must grow on bluestone. After a heavy snowfall, the rocks are moist and the sun is slightly visible. Then iron spirits are produced. The large ones are in pieces, like moss, green, and look like smoke. They also have a little stalk, and the big and small ones are like flowers. When cooked, the surface is blue and purple, like lotus, and the bottom is black and wrinkled. Every time it is picked at dawn, it is thick, and it becomes thinner and slightly turns into water as the sun rises. All fragrant mushrooms are formed by the damp air, and they are good at emitting cold air. It is good to eat more with motherwood, which is beneficial to menstruation and good at replenishing women's blood. However, iron spirits are sweet and rich, mild and non-toxic. Eating more can make people feel full and moisturize the skin and make the face young. However, most of the things recorded in the classics are rumors and may not be credible. There is also Lingxi in our Tibetan area, which is similar to the red Ganoderma in China, but the fragrance is far from comparable to the red Ganoderma in the mainland, but it does not have much effect, but it can replenish qi, calm the mind, and strengthen the bones and muscles. Lingxi is similar, and the effect is roughly the same. However, Chinese medicine believes that the 5 colors and 5 elements are combined with the 5 internal organs. The green one belongs to the liver. The liver governs the soul, and the liver governs the eyes. What is said in Sheneng's Materia Medica should be credible. When Cai Hongming heard what Master Kangju said, he only had 2 words left to say, admiration. He just asked a question, but he quoted a lot of scriptures. No one would believe it, even if he read the classics and was knowledgeable. Although he knew the effect of green lingxi from him, he did not dare to take it immediately. He was a person who was very afraid of death. After returning, he would probably test the effect on the animals at home. Now the rooster and scorpion he raised were in trouble again. It was not easy to be his pets. After a while of bothering, seeing that it was getting late, Cai Hongming and Sangna said goodbye to Master Kangju. Master Kangju and the young lamakas who stood on the platform in front of the grotto and saw them off. On the way back, Cai Hongming did not follow the winding path as usual, but found a shortcut through the woods and walked straight. Unexpectedly, he was lucky enough to meet a fat rabbit on the way. This rabbit was also a silly rabbit. It didn't even run when it saw people coming. Cai Hongming pounced on it and almost crushed it to death. Sangna took the rabbit tied by Cai Hongming with vines and put it in her backpack. She smiled from ear to ear and was so happy that her eyes almost disappeared. Passing through the dense woods, walking down the hillside, and arriving at the village, the simple atmosphere of Lasmito village could be smelled. On both sides of the village road, there were many people fishing. There were many people fishing in the lake. When Cai Hongming arrived at the village, he saw a group of people gathered by the mother lake in Lasmito village. When he walked over, he saw 2 Obereniu and Ki Dioji Sheo, each holding a homemade fishing rod, fishing by the lake, and several adults and children from the village were watching curiously. Chapter 32 Huangaiu. Generally speaking, Tibetans do not eat fish because they have the custom of water burial. So why they do not eat fish is self-evident. However, Lasmito village does not have this custom. They pay great attention to the protection of the mother lake that nurtures them. The water for washing is usually discharged to the outside through another ditch, and no one throws things into the lake, so the lake is always so clear and bright. After all, this is their living water, and they eat and drink here, so they have to protect it. Although they do not have the custom of water burial, no one goes fishing to eat, but they do not mind others fishing. Cai Hongming used to fish here, but the fish in the lake seemed particularly stupid, because no one had ever fished before. Basically, they would come up as soon as they were fished, which made the fisherman very unenthusiastic. So after he caught one and ate it, he was too lazy to fish again. Cai Hongming walked to Obereniu and Ki Dioji Sheo and looked at the bucket next to them. There was not a single fish. He could not help but look at the 2 with contempt. He could catch a few fish, even if he threw a rope with a hook tied to it. The 2 of them didn't catch a single fish with their fishing rods. With such skills, they still come out to fish. Don't they feel ashamed? I feel ashamed for them. As if seeing the contempt in his eyes, Obereniu pulled up the fishing rod fiercely. Oh, there was a huge fish hook tied to the fishing line. See? I don't fish for small fish, only big fish. Obereniu proudly showed the fishing hook to Cai Hongming, then threw it down and continued fishing. Suddenly, the boy on the fishing line of Ki Dioji Sheo next to him moved, and after another movement, the boy sank suddenly into the lake. He hurriedly pulled it up hard, but the fish in the lake also bit the fishing line and pulled it down, causing him to stagger and fall to the ground, and the fishing rod in his hand was almost thrown out. Cai Hongming hurried forward to help grab the fishing rod. There was a sudden pulling force on the fishing rod, and Cai Hongming grabbed it tightly, and the fishing line instantly stretched straight. Ki Dioji Sheo saw this and wanted to walk around with his fishing rod, fish for fun, and then catch the fish when they were tired. At this moment, a big fish jumped out of the water, and its tail suddenly slapped the water surface, using the force to pull the head of the fish that was biting the hook to the side. The huge pulling force made Ki Dioji Sheo, who had just taken the fishing rod from Cai Hongming, lose his balance, and the fishing rod slipped out. Wow, what a big fish. Ki Dioji Sheo was not frustrated by the disappearance of the fishing rod in his hand, but exclaimed loudly. Obereniu next to him was the same. Even Cai Hongming had never seen a big fish in the lake. The adults next to him saw Ki Dioji Sheo's fishing rod being dragged away by the fish, and they laughed kindly. The children clapped their hands and cheered, and it was not known whether they were cheering for the big fish to escape or for Sheo to lose the fishing rod. Brother Bird, how can there be such a big fish in this lake? Sheo asked in surprise. How should I know? I haven't seen it. If you ask me, who should I ask? Cai Hongming rolled his eyes. He had come here so many times, and all he had seen were small fish weighing a few kilograms. He had never seen a big fish in front of him that was 2 or 3 meters long. When Tuobereniu saw such a big fish in the lake, he was so happy that he rubbed his hands and threw the fish hook into the lake, intending to catch the big fish. Cai Hongming took a look and quickly picked up the fish hook. Okay, leave it away out. Didn't you see that it takes 10 years for that to grow 1 kilogram of meat? It took a lot of effort for it to grow so big, so please be kind and let it go. Besides, this thing is a second level protected animal. If you catch it, be careful that the relevant department will arrest you and put you in a cattle cage. I'm not going to eat it. Why arrest me? Tuobereniu argued. Then you are too stupid. Why do you fish for it if you don't want to eat it? I'm fishing for fun. Okay. Sure, why not? But in my opinion, since you don't eat fish, you might as well go home and install a fishing software to have fun at home. There is air conditioning at home, you can eat and drink, and maybe you can even catch a mermaid. Why do you have to suffer in this cold place for nothing? I'm happy too. I think you are full and have nothing to do. Cai Hongming said. Brother Bird, there are many people who are full and have nothing to do now. If there are fish on Mount Everest, they will definitely run up to fish. Sheo said with a smile. What are you fishing for? I fished for a long time and didn't even catch a small fish. What's the point of fishing? Let's go and see the rabbit I caught. That's real skill. The rabbit I caught was very fat. It is estimated to be 3 catties. No, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 catties. Cai Hongming boasted. Is it true? Sheo obviously didn't believe it. Why would I lie to you? Aniu, are you still fishing? Hearing that Cai Hongming caught a rabbit, Sheo didn't want to fish anymore and wanted to go back to have a look. No more fishing. Tuobereniu picked up the fishing rod angrily and walked towards Basung's house with a bucket. As Cai Hongming said, fishing is for eating. What's the point of fishing if you don't eat it? At first he wanted to catch a big fish, but he didn't expect to encounter a. It's not easy for it to grow up. It only grows a little bit a year, and it weighs 1 pound in 10 years. I don't know how long it took for the fish in the lake to grow so big. It would be a sin to eat it. He was not afraid of sin, but he was afraid that, if he caught it and brought it back, it would be bad, and he would be caught. When he returned to Basung's house, Sheo and Tuobereniu saw Song Na showing off the fat rabbit in the hall. Although it was caught by Cai Hongming, she also participated in it and felt proud of it. To celebrate Hongming's catching a rabbit, I'm going to invite a few guests to celebrate tonight, Uncle Basung announced loudly with a smile. People here are like this. They are generous to others, and they will find a reason to treat them whenever they have time. Tuobereniu curled his lips and expressed his disdain. What's the point of celebrating a rabbit? It would be better to celebrate if you caught a black bear or a tiger. In the evening, Basung's house was crowded with people. Everyone happily drank barley wine and ate roasted lamb, cheese and other foods. Of course, there was also the golden and fragrant hare caught by Cai Hongming. Although each person could only eat a little, everyone felt very happy. It was not for Cai Hongming's rabbit, but for this celebration. In the early morning, when the birds had just jumped to the branches to sing, and the morning dew was still hanging on the tips of the leaves in the forest, Cai Hongming drove the white yak, and Sheo, and others to Giling. Tuobereniu, who was originally the driver, was still hungover. At the climax last night, the Tibetan women in the village sang and danced loudly in the hall, and they toasted the guests with a smile while dancing. Tuobereniu was so proud of his drinking capacity that he didn't know how high the sky was and how deep the earth was. He accepted all the drinks and finally fell down. Sheo was very discerning and felt that he was about to get drunk, so he quickly refused. Cai Hongming knew his own drinking capacity and drank as much as he should, so he didn't drink too much. After returning home, Songna was obviously in a much better mood, and you can tell by the expression on her face. The car drove forward, gradually leaving the mountainous area and onto the flat concrete road. At around 10 o'clock, Cai Hongming received a call from Senkiang in Kyoto, saying that the program for his exclusive interview had been produced and would be broadcast in the evening. Cai Hongming was a little excited when he heard it. After returning home, he called everywhere and told relatives and friends to watch TV. Her mother shouted directly on the street, saying that my Hongming would be on TV and everyone should remember to watch it in the evening. This made her excited for the whole day. She felt like she was floating when she walked, instead of feeling heavy like an elephant stamping on the ground as before. Chapter 33 Hometown Tribute Sugar. After dinner in the evening, Cai Hongming stayed at the barbecue stall for a while. When it was almost 7 o'clock, he was waiting in front of the TV, waiting to watch the news, and then broadcast his interview on Focus Interview. Songna was sitting next to him. Songna helped at the barbecue stall for a while, then ran back in a hurry and sat in front of the TV like him, waiting to watch the interview. Now only Xiaopang was left at the barbecue stall, watching miserably. Fortunately, there was beef hot pot today, and not many people were eating mutton skewers, otherwise he would be exhausted to death. In addition to Songna, there were a lot of people crowded in the hall, all of whom were neighbors who were pulled by his mother to watch TV. His mother said that watching TV like this was more lively. Luan Fenja, slow down, you're almost breaking my old bones. How could that be? If you put on young people's clothes, people would think you were a young man in his 20s or 30s from behind. Come on. You're still young. Even if you're 20 years younger, you won't be that old. At this time, there was a shouting outside. Cai Hongming looked outside and saw that his mother had brought over old menu from the nearby grocery store. Oh, is it necessary to bring so many people just to watch TV? Look at those little brats sitting on the ground. Do they look like they would watch Focus Interview? They are more like cartoons. However, his mother obviously had not considered these things and simply wanted to bring some people over to join in the fun. We're here, Luan Fenja, let go. You're holding on so hard that my hands are sore. It doesn't matter where you watch TV. Is it necessary to come to your house to watch it? Old Manu nagging. But he was obviously nagging the wrong person. When Ma Luanfeng heard this, she immediately said angrily, Old man, you don't be so rude. I saw that you were alone at home, and I was afraid that you would get sick from boredom, so I brought you here to get some fresh air. You see, you used to be so fat, but you got bored and became as thin as a bamboo pole now. Look at me. I walk around all day. I'm strong. I eat everything I want. I'm healthy and worry-free. How great. You are really strong. You can catch up with the cows of Old Man Li's family. Old Manu glanced at Ma Luanfeng and whispered. However, he didn't dare to speak loudly for fear that she would hear him. Uncle Liu, sit here. Seeing Old Manu coming, Cai Xianfu quickly moved his seat. Old Manu was not polite and walked over and sat down. Looking at Ma Luanfeng at the door, he whispered to Cai Xianfu, I wonder how you keep your wife. She's getting fatter and fatter, almost like a spinning top. Cai Xianfu's face turned strange after hearing this, and he said after a long time, it would be great if you could tell her what you said. When Old Manu heard this, he immediately said with a glare, it's not that I'm too old. If I tell her about this, she will fight me to death. Cai Xianfu raised his eyebrows and thought to himself, you know it too. However, after hearing what the old man said, he also thought deeply. His wife has indeed gained a lot of weight recently. I don't know how it happened. The food at home is still the same, not very good. It's probably because of the mountains and rivers in the northwest. Unlike the women in southern Fujian, they are all slim. It's really not easy to find such a strong woman. But there is an advantage of being strong. That is, you have energy to work. The house is well organized, and it's all her credit. After pulling Old Manu over, Ma Luanfeng seemed to want to go out to find someone, so Cai Hongming quickly said, Mom, the TV is about to start. If she were to go out and pull someone over again, she wouldn't have to watch TV at night. She could just squeeze in with the crowd. Ma Luanfeng looked back and saw that there were indeed a lot of people. After thinking about it, she finally gave up the idea of going out to pull people back to watch TV, and instead walked into the house and took out a bunch of candies to distribute to the big and small people in the house. Old Manu took the candy and his eyes lit up immediately. Hey, the sun is rising from the west today. Luan Feng, you are willing to take out the hidden tribute candy to eat? Just eat it. If you have it, why are you talking so much nonsense? Luan Feng said unhappily. Old Manu quickly stopped talking. This woman is not easy to mess with. Cai Hongming also took a bag of tribute candy and started eating it. The tribute candy from his hometown tastes delicious. There are two types of tribute candy. One is hard, which people in his hometown call hard candy. The other is soft, which people in his hometown call soft candy. I remember when I was a kid, when a family got married, they would invite a bunch of masters to make gantang. Because making gantang is a laborious job, the masters were all very strong. When making gantang, you first need to fry the peeled peanuts. The smell of the fried peanuts will float in the wind, making people drool. At this time, a bunch of children will come over to smell the fragrance, but they are blocked by adults because there is a big iron pot boiling syrup. At that time, there was no gas or electric frying stove, so you could only burn wood. So you have to pay special attention to the heat. If the fire is too big, the peanuts will be burnt, and the gantang will not taste good. After the peanuts are fried, you have to boil the syrup. The syrup contains maltose and white sugar. Maltose is sticky, and white sugar is harder and easier to coagulate. The two are mixed together like a perfect match, like a couple. After the syrup is boiled, pour the fried peanuts in, and use a huge shovel to shovel the fried peanuts and the syrup in the pot until they are even. When almost every peanut is covered with syrup, the chef with the big shovel will quickly scoop the well-mixed gantang out of the pot and put it on the flour chopping board next to him. At this time, another chef will quickly sprinkle a layer of flour on it, pick up a huge stick made of langan wood, and beat the gantang desperately, fiercely, and gnashing his teeth until it is square. After beating, the two chefs holding sharp knives will take over and quickly chop the gantang with the knives. At this time, a pleasant kang sound will be heard. In just a moment, a huge piece of gantang is chopped into small pieces of gantang of the right size by the two people. At this time, the children next to them will have a benefit. The host family who has a happy event at home will take out the edges and corners cut off when chopping gantang and share them with them. The taste is really sweet. Cai Hongming also ate it at that time, and it was really delicious. But now I dare not eat too much, because gantang is made of peanuts, maltose and white sugar, which is very sweet. Eating too much will make you get angry. The masters who make gantang are skilled and work very well together. The gantang master's technique is particularly unique. In order to prevent the gantang from becoming hard and difficult to cut, the two have to cut the hot gantang into small pieces in a short time. They act very quickly, just like a master fighting, with eyes and hands in harmony. If there is a slight mistake, it will be unnatural. It is also like flying flowers and butterflies dancing, which makes people dazzled. At that time, the young Cai Hongming was watching stupidly. If someone took a legendary martial arts secret book and said to him at that time, "Little friend, you have a unique skeleton. You are clearly a martial arts genius among 10,000. The important task of maintaining world peace depends on you. I have a secret book here. I think it is destined for you, so I will sell it to you for 10 yuan. At that time, let alone 10 yuan, he would probably buy it, even if it was 100 yuan. But at that time, did he have money? Chapter 34 Focus Talk. Sometimes, waiting really makes people feel that time is very long. Cai Hongming was no exception. He waited until the news was about to end, but heard the female anchor say, at the end of the news, "Let's enjoy a short film." Then, the TV screen turned and played a short film interviewing Cai Hongming. The short film started from the CCTV reporter leaving the airport to visiting the masses in Gilang, and then to meeting the cicada in Kilian Mountain. It is not easy to condense such a long period of time into a few minutes of short film. However, the editing is good, which makes people feel bright, especially the scene of the big male deer slowly walking out of the forest with a Ganoderma lucidum in its mouth, which is even more amazing. The short film is over. The male host said, the protagonist in the short film is a sweet potato brother who has been very popular on the internet recently. It is said that sweet potato brother is originally from the south, so why did he run to the northwest? Why did the cicada offer him Ganoderma lucidum? Why was he able to grow the world's largest sweet potato in the Gobi Desert? Please watch the next Focus interview on TV. Guinness World Records the owner of the world's largest sweet potato, not an ordinary sweet potato brother. Cai Hongming had to say that the host's words were a bit sensational, and coupled with the video just now, people couldn't help but want to watch the next Focus interview immediately. After a short break, the Focus interview finally began. At first, it was a scene of Sen Qiang interviewing the residents of Giling. He didn't even know that she had interviewed in the town. Sen Qiang slowly walked towards a young man in front, holding the microphone and asked, "Excuse me, do you know that someone in your town has grown the world's largest sweet potato?" "I know, of course I know. But..." The young man with acne on his face knew Cai Hongming. He was about to call him Brother Bird, but suddenly realized that he was going to be on TV, so he swallowed his words and said, "Brother K is the best. He grills lamb skew as well, sells barbecues well, and can correct bones and give massages. Now he has grown the world's largest sweet potato. I feel that the earth is no longer suitable for him. He should develop an outer space." Cai Hongming almost cursed when he saw this. Who is this guy? He talks nonsense. Can't he say something nice? Such as he is handsome, usually kind and generous, friendly, and helpful. This guy must have watched too many movies. Let's interview the next one. Sen Qiang quickly changed the subject, and the photographer was also very smart. He immediately moved the camera and found another person to interview. The people interviewed this time were Tuobareniyu and Kidioji Sheo. "Excuse me, do you know that someone in your town has grown the world's largest sweet potato?" "I know, and the person who grew the sweet potato is our classmate, right?" Kidioji Sheo said with a smile. "Oh, then how were his grades when he was in school?" Sen Qiang asked curiously. "Well, actually, we are just classmates in the same school, that is, alumni. He is in the 3rd grade of junior high school, and I'm in the 1st grade, so I don't know all this." "I know his grades. He only got 8 in English." Tuobareniyu next to him suddenly leaned over to interrupt, but before he could finish, Kidioji Sheo covered his mouth. He stammered and couldn't hear what he was saying. "Sorry, we have something else to do, so we'll leave first." After saying that, Kidioji Sheo hurriedly pulled Tuobareniyu away to prevent him from talking nonsense. "Why are you pulling me away? Don't think it's great that he grows big sweet potatoes. I just don't grow them. If I grow them, it's possible to grow huge sweet potatoes weighing 1,000 kilograms." Tuobareniyu said to Kidioji Sheo angrily. "That will be on TV, so don't talk nonsense. Be careful that Brother Bad will come to settle the score with you if he hears it. What's the point of arguing? Everyone knows his shabby grades. Do I need to tell you?" The two turned and left, leaving Sen Qiang speechless. But she was also an extraordinary person. She recovered quickly and turned to interview other people. This time she walked to a store where there happened to be an old man, so she asked, "Hello, old man, do you know that someone in this town has grown the world's largest sweet potato?" The old man happened to be Old Man Yu, who was bored in the store and ran out to get some fresh air. When he heard Sen Qiang ask this, he replied, "Of course I know. I watched the little guy who grew sweet potatoes grow up." "Oh, then you must be very familiar with him." "Of course I am. I'm familiar with everyone in his family. Look, his family lives in front. I'll take you there. In fact, their family doesn't grow vegetables, but they give people bone setting massages. Their ancestral plasters and bone setting skills are good. His father cured my rheumatism for many years." The so-called world's largest sweet potato was actually planted by the little guy for fun. It was pure luck that he could grow such a big sweet potato. When Ma Luanfeng heard what Old Man Yu said, her eyes widened, and she turned to the old man and said, "Old Man Yu, can you speak? What luck? Can your family be so lucky that they can grow such a big sweet potato?" I just said it casually at that time. Who knew it would be released? Didn't I say good things about your family too? Old Manu said embarrassedly. This was actually the reason why he didn't want to come just now. Seeing that his mother was still talking about Old Manu, Cai Hongming quickly said, "Mom, is the TV on?" After hearing this, Ma Luanfeng quickly sat down and continued watching. Old Manu escaped the disaster and gave Cai Hongming a grateful look. Senki eyeing on TV, followed Old Manu to Cai Hongming's home and casually took a close-up of his family sign, pointing out that his family was really not a peasant family, but a family of traditional Chinese medicine practitioners who practiced bone setting and massage. After entering, it was time to interview Ma Luanfeng, who shouted loudly, "My son has been a good student since he was young, with 100 points in every subject, and has developed comprehensively in terms of morality, intelligence, physical fitness, and aesthetics." Hearing this, Cai Hongming, who was thirsty for tea, couldn't help but spit out the tea in his mouth. This is too much of a boast. With his grades, he still has 100 points in every subject. Even if you tell a ghost, the ghost won't believe it, let alone the comprehensive development of morality, intelligence, physical fitness, and aesthetics. What is he developing? When he was a child, he stole fruits, dug sweet potatoes, and fish secretly, and even fought with others. How did he become a good student in the blink of an eye? But Ma Luanfeng, who was sitting in front of the TV, watched with relish, as if what he said was true. After interviewing Ma Luanfeng, the cameraman took a few shots in the backyard and went to Kilian village. After interviewing a few elderly people in Kilian village, the group came to the mountain where sweet potatoes were planted. Everyone watching TV knew that the scene of the cicada offering Ganoderma lucidum was about to appear, so they sat up straight and widened their eyes. The TV did not directly broadcast the scene of the big male deer carrying the green Ganoderma lucidum, but first played the interview with Cai Hongming about farming. There were a lot of things, and then the camera turned, and the big male deer quietly appeared from behind with the green Ganoderma lucidum in its mouth, and then there was the scene of Cai Hongming treating the fawn. After treating the fawn, the next step was the interview. The interview was very ordinary, and the people in front of the TV were helpless, but the performance of the big male deer next made people's eyes bright and hilarious. When the big deer stood behind Cai Hongming, people in front of the TV couldn't help laughing when they saw two horns suddenly grow on his head. Then, when they saw the big deer put its head close to Cai Hongming's head, everyone looked at him, feeling weird. Then there was the scene where the big deer walked around during Cai Hongming's interview, and then lay on the ground obediently. People watching the focus interview suddenly felt that the cicada was so cute, and it would be great if they could own one, but it's a pity that it's a bit unrealistic, because it's a national protected animal. The last scene on TV was Cai Hongming doing boxing in the morning. In the morning sun, Cai Hongming was like a crane dancing in the sun, as graceful as a fairy, and the big deer family next to him disrupting the situation was hilarious. The focus interview ended here, and everyone felt that today's focus interview was a bit short, and they were still not satisfied. At this time, the host said, "Through this interview, we got to know a real sweet potato brother. He is a young man who followed his parents from the warm southern Fuji into the bitter cold northwest, but he has no regrets and has taken root in the desert to grow the world's largest sweet potato. He said he has a dream to turn the desert in front of the village into an oasis, to become a leaf or a branch, and the realization of the Chinese dream of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation." As the chairman said, "We wish his dream can be realized soon. If we all have the heart to become a leaf or a branch, then the chairman's Chinese dream will surely be realized soon." Thank you all for watching today's focus interview. See you tomorrow. Chapter 35 Sensation. The broadcast of the focus interview undoubtedly reheated the news about the already dim sweet potato brother. Major websites immediately pinned this video to the top, and netizens began to discuss it. There are 3 highlights in the interview program video. One is when the big male deer came with the green Ganoderma lucidum in its mouth. One is the various funny performances of the big male deer in the interview with Cai Hongming. And the last one is the boxing video of Cai Hongming. No one has the heart to pay attention to the rest. Everyone, what is the Ganoderma lucidum that the baby cicada is biting? Why haven't I seen it before? Netizen Niuniu asked curiously. I haven't seen it either. Netizen Piogo replied. It is probably moss. Netizen Zenshidi guessed. It may be painted. Netizen Lonely in Nyangji said maliciously. I think the baby deer are so cute. It would be nice if I had one too. Me too. Me too. Alas, what a bunch of naive people. It's a national protected animal. You still want one? Even one is impossible. The person upstairs is blind. I've identified it. He's not blind. He's disabled. We should show due respect to the classmate upstairs. Don't you know that venison is available? No wonder people say you are blind. It's true. The Animal Protection Association is passing by. Does anyone else feel that the cicadeer's face looks a lot like Sweet Potato Brother? I have the same feeling. Me too. They do look alike. Could it be? Could it be? You two fools upstairs. What the hell is that? You speak hesitantly, and it makes people hold their urine. Don't you just want to say that Sweet Potato Brother's father has something fishy with the cicadeer? To be frank, the Indians and the Devils have done this kind of thing many times. What's so strange about it? The above is so disgusting. His thoughts are so dirty, it just makes my eyes dirty. The above words make me want to vomit. Pure and innocent virgin. I really don't want to say that I have been a virgin for 80 years because of my hard practice of virgin kung fu. I can be said to be the strongest among the strong, the man among the men, and the virgin among the virgins. If anyone doesn't believe it, you can come and try. Contact number XXXXXXXXXXXX. I didn't expect that Sweet Potato Brother is also a master. It's really like what the Acne Brother said in the interview. The earth can no longer stop his footsteps. He should go to outer space to develop. It doesn't feel like a big deal. It's not as good as the movies. Netizen Buazayan said sourly. The idiot above. Are those movies still real kung fu? Don't think about it. With the high technology today, even a dog can be beaten alive by someone, let alone other things. I found that I was electrocuted by Sweet Potato Brother. I fell in love with him. Oh, MAGA. The pure girl was as depressed as before. Is the person upstairs a transgender? King Hoyer alumni asked sincerely. The person upstairs is very inhumane. He finally got his spring, but you still care about it. The world is really going downhill. It's no wonder that China has people like you. There is an economic recession and a real estate bubble. When Cai Hongming saw someone saying that his face looked like a deer's face in front of the computer, he couldn't help but curse. Where is your mother? When he saw someone implying that he was the product of his father and a cicadeer, he was so angry that he cursed angrily. Your whole family is born by deer and raised by dogs. But then his face became strange. Don't these people know that cicadeer are male? There are good and bad comments on the internet. Sometimes people feel refreshed, and sometimes they make people want to jump off the building. If you have a bad heart, you really can't afford it. Cai Hongming took a look and was too lazy to read it anymore. He went to bed and drank some water diluted jade toad liquid. He sat on the bed and practiced according to the scriptures and methods of the ancient Taoist technique Taoist Sutra. Although he didn't watch it, the turmoil caused by the focus interview is still going on. Some people even edited 3 of the highlights of the video, mixed in some autumn scenery, and uploaded them to the internet with a lyrical song. As soon as this video came out, it was immediately pinned to the top of the website and instantly received more than 1 million clicks. The matter is not over yet. The next day, the People's Daily also wrote an article to join in the fun. 2 or 3 things about the focus interview's Guinness World Record. Sweet Potato Brother who planted the world's largest sweet potato. The article mainly describes a young man named Cai Hongming who is studious, filial, and versatile. At the end, it also said, this world's largest sweet potato undoubtedly has great scientific research value and economic value. If someone can study why the sweet potato can grow so big, it will definitely make a lot of money. Sweet potatoes have a wide range of uses. As far as we know, it can be eaten directly, can be used to treat diseases, can be used as a raw material for biomass power generation, can be used to make wine, can be used as feed for poultry and livestock, and can be processed into various foods. Not to mention how much, if someone can study and grow 200 kilograms of sweet potatoes, the prospects are very impressive. Imagine that one mu of sweet potato land that could only harvest 1000 kilograms of sweet potatoes has increased its income by 200 times. That is 100,000 kilograms. If a pig eats 10 kilograms of sweet potatoes a day, it will be 300 kilograms a month, and 1,200 kilograms in 4 months. Basically, 100,000 kilograms of sweet potatoes can feed 83 pigs, and these pigs are almost all profitable except for the money from the piglets. After the People's Daily article came out, major newspapers reprinted it. Not only that, according to gossip, the person living in Zhangnan watched Cai Hongming's A Great Dream is achieved by countless small dreams. I think the dream proposed by the chairman is actually the trunk of a tree, and our dreams are the branches and leaves of a tree. If I can really turn this desert into an oasis, I can become a part of these branches and leaves. After saying with emotion, he once said, "It would be great if everyone thought so." Somehow this sentence spread out and immediately caused a storm. The next day, some discerning officials immediately proposed a speech at the meeting: "We should be a leaf and a branch." All the major official media got the news and rushed to Gansu to interview Cai Hongming. Some of them went to his hometown in southern Fujian to interview him. They portrayed a naughty boy who had been stealing sweet potatoes, picking fruits, fishing and fighting with others since childhood as a good student who united with friends, loved classmates, respected elders and was filial to his parents. Cai Hongming felt very unreal after reading everyone's description. Is that still himself? But as her mother said, media reporters are just two mouths. They can say whatever they want. He can't control it. Anyway, he is still himself. In addition to media interviews, all the major scientific research institutions in China, whether official or private, rushed to Gansu like sharks seeing blood after reading the article in the People's Daily. For a time, the small border town of Gansu was very lively. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 36 Auction. Hello, we are from the Jiangsu and Zhejiang Agricultural Science and Technology Research Institute. Is Mr. Cai Hongming home? In Cai Hongming's bone setting and massage clinic, several researchers who claimed to be from Jiangsu and Zhejiang took out their business cards and handed them to Ma Luanfeng. Ma Luanfeng took the business card and put it directly into a box next to her without even looking at it. The few people looked into the box and found that there was already a thick stack of business cards inside. "What do you have to say?" Ma Luanfeng asked, and said, "I'm Cai Hongming's mother. You can tell me if you have anything to say. I will tell him when he gets home. Then please tell Mr. K that our research institute wants to cooperate with him to research and develop the world's largest sweet potato he has grown. Please be sure to call us when he comes back and we will discuss cooperation. Our research institute is here with great sincerity." The staff of the Jiangsu and Zhejiang Research Institute said respectfully. "Okay, I will tell him when I come back. Why don't you have some tea before you leave?" The staff of the Jiangsu and Zhejiang Research Institute looked at each other. Why did this sound so strange? It didn't sound like inviting people to have tea, but rather like driving them away. But they didn't have anything to do, so they quickly declined her invitation and left. Ma Luanfeng really didn't like these people, because she had received many of them today, and she didn't make any money, and she had to waste tea, so she didn't have time to care about them. But if the media reporters came to interview, it would be different. She would definitely make tea and receive them with a smile. Because interviews cost money, she wouldn't let them interview without money. It was so tiring to waste saliva foam for no reason. Cai Hongming and Cai Xianfu felt very helpless about this. This person was obsessed with money and couldn't get out of it. Not only that, Ma Luanfeng also came up with a way to make money because of the money she collected from interviews, that is, selling sweet potatoes. Can you imagine that a lot of reporters came to interview and he didn't want to taste what the world's largest sweet potato tastes like? Although the world's largest sweet potato cannot be eaten, its brothers and sisters of the same variety can. So she sold the sweet potatoes that Cai Hongming had worked so hard to grow. She didn't sell them by pound, and she couldn't sell them for much money that way. She specifically picked the big ones to sell. or 3 Jin 1 was sold for 10 yuan, a 4 Jin 1 for 20 yuan, and a 5 Jin 1 for 30 yuan. The heavier it was, the more expensive it was. In the end, someone actually bought it. A few dozen yuan was nothing to those media reporters who made a living with their mouths and pens. It was naturally interesting to taste the taste of their brothers and sisters who grew the world's largest sweet potato. However, Cai Hongming didn't grow many sweet potatoes, and they were almost sold out, so Mo Luanfeng was distressed. What should I do? There must be someone else who would buy them later. It would be unethical not to sell them to others. After thinking about it, she suddenly remembered that her brother came over last year and found the sweet potatoes very sweet, so he took some back to plant. She didn't ask him how he was doing. Now is the time to harvest sweet potatoes. Call to see if there are any. If there are, ask him to send some over immediately to help. Thinking of this, she took action and ran to the house to make a phone call. This is a business secret and cannot be known to others. Cai Fu, who was making tea in the clinic, saw his wife swept in like a tornado and couldn't help shaking his head. This woman is really crazy about money. My passion is like a fire, burning the whole desert. The sun will hide from me when it sees me, and it will also be afraid of my fire of love. With me, the desert will never be lonely, and it will be full of flowers of youth. I sing loudly, and you sing softly, intoxicated in the little river of love in the desert. You give me small raindrops to moisten my heart, and I give you a small breeze to blow open your flowers. The small flowers in love belong to you and me. Our love is like a passionate desert. On the desert highway, Cai Hongming drove his modified 4-wheeled motorcycle quickly and sang loudly. After shouting for a while, he felt that he had finally shouted away the depression of the past 2 days, and his mood was much better. Since the broadcast of the Focus interview, he has become famous again, but what he never expected was that fame would also bring a lot of troubles. The day after the broadcast of the Focus interview, there was nothing wrong. The next day, that is, from yesterday, a lot of media reporters and people from scientific research institutions found him, either wanting to interview him, looking for cooperation, or wanting to buy his world's largest sweet potato to study. He was overwhelmed and had to run away in embarrassment. The mess behind was left to his parents to deal with. Unexpectedly, these were troubles for him, but a blessing from heaven for his mother. His father said that his mother not only asked for money when the media interviewed her, but also sold the sweet potatoes at home. After selling them, she also bought sweet potatoes from relatives and continued to sell them. The most important thing was that those who bought sweet potatoes to eat praised them unanimously, saying that the sweet potatoes of the same variety as the world's largest sweet potato were indeed delicious. What a bunch of stupid birds. He didn't know how to say these people. After learning from the phone that his mother was dealing with these reporters and scientific researchers at home like a fish in water, Cai Hongming was relieved and drove to Kilian village, intending to avoid the limelight and pick up some sheep from Sanai to sell. The car window was open, and the cold wind from outside was blowing in, which made Cai Hongming shudder and quickly close the window. Suddenly, he had an idea, and had a great idea. Since those scientific research institutions all want to negotiate with him about cooperating to buy the world's largest sweet potato, he might as well take this opportunity to auction off the world's largest sweet potato at home. Anyway, these things are nothing to him. It's just a waste of some jade toad liquid. After thinking about it, Cai Hongming felt that he was really smart. He quickly picked up the phone to contact the largest hotel in the county, planning to rent their hotel lobby in 2 days. It doesn't take a day, one morning is enough, and it's not even meal time. When the hotel manager heard what Cai Hongming said, he agreed without thinking. This is purely giving money to their hotel. How could he refuse such a good thing? And this is a great opportunity to become famous. Their hotel has been nestled in this remote small county town and no one has known about it. Now there are a lot of institutions and media here. Their hotel may be able to take this opportunity to become famous. So, the hotel manager used his power to give Cai Hongming the biggest discount, and also ordered the staff below to try their best to arrange things. He had thought it through. On the day of the auction, he would definitely find a group of pretty girls to stand at the door to welcome guests, so that everyone who came to the hotel could feel their hotel's supreme service with customers as the top priority and make them feel at home. After arranging the hotel, Cai Hongming called her mother again and asked her to spread the word that he would hold an auction in the county's big hotel in 2 days to auction the world's largest sweet potato and another big sweet potato at home. The reason why it was 2 days later was to let more people know that he was going to auction the world's largest sweet potato, and by the way, let them raise money so that they would not be out of money when the time came. And he had to hide in Killian village for the next 2 days to avoid those people coming to bother him again. After the call, Cai Hongming stepped on the accelerator and drove the 4-wheeled motorcycle to Killian village. Chapter 37, Sawing Deer Antlers. After driving on the desert highway for a while, Cai Hongming turned the car to a hard dirt road pressed out of sand on the side of the road. The 4-wheeled motorcycle drove on the dirt road for a while and arrived at Killian village. After returning to the village, Cai Hongming was relieved. Staying in the town to accept media interviews and the entanglement of scientific research institutions was undoubtedly a very torturous thing for him. He was a simple person and was really impatient to face those annoying things, especially those people who obviously hated them, but had to receive them with a smile, which made his face sour. This was not the life he wanted. Hearing the sound of the motorcycle, Bagong, Sanai, Wuai, and Fushu who were in the house came out of the house. It was getting cold recently, and Bagong no longer went out to read Feng Shui for people, and Sanai had almost sold all the sheep that could be sold. The remaining ones had to be kept for breeding and could not be sold, so he was also free, except for occasionally driving the sheep out to feed some grass. He mostly stayed at home to watch TV and chat with Bagong and others, or he cooked some side dishes and made some wine for himself. The life is so leisurely that people envy him. 5 Master, who farms, has nothing to do because the crops have been harvested, and the so-called cold-resistant winter wheat that he tried to plant this year, which had already grown a section, all died because of the cold weather, so he only needs to take care of some vegetables planted in his backyard greenhouse, which is very leisurely. Uncle Fu, you have gained weight again after not seeing you for a few days. After driving the car to the front of the house and parking it, Cai Hongming got out of the car and teased Uncle Fu who was walking over. Uncle Fu was stupid, just smiling stupidly, and then went to help him carry the things he brought out of the car. Hearing his voice, the cicada in the backyard all ran out and called yo-yo to him, as if to say hello. These guys are very cunning. Now the weather is cold, the mountain is bleak, there are no green leaves, no fresh green grass. After coming down, he was carefully served by Bagong and others with food and drink, so he refused to leave. Bagong called him more than once and asked him to come and saw off the antlers as a meal fee for these guys. Cai Hongming was very disdainful of this. If he wanted to use the antlers to make wine, then just say so. What about the meal fee? That's too expensive. Nowadays, 50 grams of antlers are at least 80 yuan online, and the purchase price of 2 antlers is about 3,000 yuan. The big antlers on the head of the big male deer with several forks will definitely be bought by someone for more than 10,000 yuan. He just thought up this price, and it might be even higher. He wanted 2 antlers on someone's head for a few meals. Bagong's heart is really dark, much darker than his mother. His mother just wanted to take the opportunity to sell more sweet potatoes, but he wanted to cut off someone's antlers directly. It's really like family. After moving the things, Bagong drove the cicada back to the backyard and sneakily pulled Cai Hongming into the house. Did you bring the anesthetic? Bagong asked Cai Hongming as soon as he entered the house. Hachiko, why are you doing this? Their horns are growing well, but you want to saw them off. This is too immoral. Cai Hongming criticized Hachiko with a righteous face. Morality? What is morality? Hachiko looked at him with contempt and said, you stinky boy don't know anything at all. You think that cicada is a kind character, but you don't see that its fork is sharpened so sharply. If you are accidentally stabbed, your intestines will be pierced. I sawed off the deer's antlers for your own good. Anyway, the antlers will grow again. It doesn't matter. At most, I can give it some delicious food to supplement it after sawing it off. Hachiko said this. What else can Cai Hongming do? But what he said makes sense. Male deer often fight cruelly to compete for the mating rights of female deer. In order to win, they will sharpen the horns on their heads. Of course, it is not just for the right to mate, but also to resist enemies. After grinding for a long time, the antlers on the male deer's head will be sharpened by them. With the frail body of a human being, if he is stabbed by a mad male deer, he will probably die in a very ugly way. So Cai Hongming took out the anesthetic needle he brought with him and went to the backyard with Hachiko. Fortunately, his family runs a clinic, otherwise it would be really hard to buy the anesthetic. When they arrived at the backyard, Hachiko took some food and led the greedy male deer into a room, separating it from the female deer and fawns, and then took a piece of cloth to cover the male deer's eyes. Seeing how familiar he was, he must have done this before. The male deer with his eyes covered was very uneasy, sneezing from time to time, shaking his head as if trying to shake off the cloth covering his eyes. Hachiko quickly picked up something to feed it, and Cai Hongming also helped to gently comfort it. After a while, the male deer calmed down. "You can do it now," Hachiko said to Cai Hongming. Cai Hongming quickly took out the anesthetic needle and injected it into the part of the antler to be cut. After a while, when the anesthetic took effect, Hachiko took out a saw to saw. Cai Hongming took over as soon as he sawed it. The old man was very old. If he was hit by the big male deer while sawing, it would be terrible. So Cai Hongming took the saw and started sawing at the antler. The big male deer felt something strange and raised his head. After a while, he felt nothing and continued to eat. After it continued to eat, Cai Hongming continued to saw at the antler. After a while, he sawed off one of the antlers. There was blood in the antler. Hachiko next to him had been prepared and took a bowl to collect it. "This is antler blood, a tonic." Cai Hongming quickly took out the prepared hemostatic and tissue growing ointment and applied it to the sawed section of the antler. Although the big male deer was injected with anesthetics and did not feel anything when sawing, it obviously felt that its head was unbalanced after the antler was sawed and immediately shook its head. Cai Hongming gently soothed the deer with his hands, and when the male deer was not paying attention to this side, while the 8 males were collecting deer blood, he quietly put a drop of jade toad liquid in the feeding plate. Jade toad liquid has a natural fragrance. The male deer had tasted it before. After smelling it, he ignored the strangeness on his head and buried his head to continue eating. This is also a stupid deer. He didn't even want his horns for food. Seeing that the male deer calmed down, Cai Hongming continued to saw the antlers. After sawing the antlers, he applied plaster and then wrapped a layer of cloth on the outside to prevent it from rubbing it everywhere and rubbing off the plaster. Generally speaking, deer that have had their antlers sawed off need to eat some calcium and nutritious food to make up for the loss of the body caused by sawing off the antlers. However, there are no calcium tablets or calcium powder in the village. Thinking that dragon bones also contained calcium, Cai Hongming took out some dragon bone powder that he had collected from the fields earlier from the ruined cave paradise and mixed it with the jade toad liquid diluted with water and sweet potatoes for the male deer to eat. This fool was eating happily, not even realizing that the horns on his head were gone. Some people compare deer antlers to human nails, which can grow back after being cut. In fact, this is not true, because there will be no blood when the nails are cut. Deer antlers should be compared to human teeth. It's just that deer antlers can grow back naturally, but human teeth can't. So sawing off the antlers will more or less damage the deer's body, but as long as you feed it well, you can make up for it. After all, the life of animals is very tenacious. After a while, the anesthetic wore off. The big male deer finally felt something was wrong. After all, there is a difference between having a pair of horns and not having a pair of horns. This guy immediately ran around the backyard, and from time to time he rubbed his head against things, and he rubbed the plaster on it to nothing. But now the bleeding has stopped, so Cai Hongming didn't apply it again. After comforting it for a long time, it calmed down. But the big male deer still shook its head, and it was obviously not used to the life without antlers. This requires a process of adaptation. Cai Hongming can only hope that it can adapt as soon as possible. Chapter 38 Deer Antler Glue. After Cai Hongming calmed down the big male deer and returned to the house, he saw several old men in the hall busy processing deer antlers. Hachiko sat on a low stool, holding a Chinese medicine guillotine, and cutting the deer antlers quickly. The big deer antlers were instantly turned into thin slices under his skillful movements. The third and fifth uncles next to him waited for him to slice the deer antlers, then took them up and put them in bags. Uncle Fu could only watch from the side. They didn't dare let him touch this thing. After a while, Hachiko finished processing one deer antler, took a break, and wanted to continue to chop the other one. Cai Hongming hurriedly said, "Hachiko, keep this one, and wait for me to boil it into deer antler glue another day before using it. That way the effect will be better." Speaking of which, the big deer antlers on the head of the big male deer can no longer be called velvet antlers in Chinese medicine, but deer antlers. Although both grow on the head of a deer, their medicinal effects are completely different. Deer antlers are tender horns that grow out of the forehead of male deer and have formed cartilage, but have not yet ossified. The outside of the horns is covered with a layer of soft hair. The velvety hairs are derived from the dermis and have many branches. The inside of the antler is dense connective tissue, cartilage tissue and bone tissue, full of blood vessels, blood circulation, which can transport nutrients, have vigorous metabolism, and grow very fast. When the tender horns gradually ossify and peel, longitudinal grooves and bone bean protrusions are formed on the surface. The branches become longer, the tops become sharp, and the entire structure is bone. The texture becomes hard and heavy. It is a deer antler. Deer antlers have no horny shells, and are solid bone horns with branches but no sheaths. Solid bone horns do not actually have the antler blood of hollow tender antlers, but the place where the antlers just extend out of the head has nerves and small blood vessels, so they bleed, but not as much as antlers, just a little bit. The efficacy of deer antlers cannot be compared with antlers. The efficacy of antlers is relatively large, while the efficacy of deer antlers is very small, just like adults and children. Compared with velvet antler, the medicinal effect of deer antler is just like that of a child. However, if deer antler is boiled into deer antler glue, the effect will be different. Because deer antler glue is a condensate extracted from deer antler, it has a very strong medicinal effect. However, the old men such as Bagan are already old, and they are not suitable for tonics with strong medicinal effects such as deer antler. They only need something with small medicinal effects and milder effects such as deer antler to slowly nourish the body. Bagan listened to Cai Hongming's words and felt that what he said made sense. It was indeed a bit of a waste to use deer antlers in this way, so he kept the other big deer antler. After processing, it was noon, and Uncle Fu brought up the prepared meals. After the meal, Bagan brought the deer blood mixed with wine. Cai Hongming was fortunate to taste it, and it tasted good. But this thing is a tonic, and he dare not drink too much. He has been a virgin for a long time, and he always has an erection in the morning, and his temper is mighty and powerful. What if he drinks too much and gets angry? He disdains to find something other than a woman to vent his feelings. If he can't hold on any longer, he will probably have to pour cold water on him to put out the fire. But pouring cold water on this kind of weather can kill people. After dinner, Cai Hongming sat with a few old people and talked about recent interesting stories. Then he went back to his room, locked the door, and entered the broken cave paradise in the jade tripod. When he came to Kilian village, he brought the scorpion and rooster that he used to test medicine at home with him, so that he could observe their changes at all times. As soon as he entered the broken cave paradise, he saw two guys standing high on a large stone within a radius of 10 meters in the broken cave paradise, comfortably enjoying the spiritual energy emitted by the jade toad liquid nourishing the large stone. Seeing him come in, the scorpion immediately stood up and shook its tail to greet him, and the rooster clucked twice, and then continued to enjoy the spiritual energy emitted by the jade toad liquid. Since the scorpion he dug out from the nest was nourished by the jade toad liquid, it has slowly changed from a half-dead state to a lively state. After shedding its shell several times, the originally pale shell of this guy somehow slowly turned into the color of transparent crystal. Now it looks like a crystallized crystal scorpion, and the blood vessels of its internal organs can be faintly seen. After the little rooster was fed with the jade toad liquid diluted with water, its appetite increased, and it changed almost every day. Now it has grown from a small rooster weighing more than 1 pound to a big rooster weighing more than 3 pounds. Although this guy is not the largest in the family in terms of size and weight, in terms of ferocity, it is undoubtedly the guy who has changed a little after drinking the jade toad liquid. After walking around in the ruined cave paradise, Cai Hongming was surprised to find that next to the green Ganoderma lucidum brought by the big deer next to the big rock, there were actually small Ganoderma lucidum growing on the ground. Those Ganoderma lucidum were not very big, they just popped out of the soil, like green lotus after rain, lush and green. Last time, after he heard about the efficacy of the green Ganoderma lucidum from Master Kangju, he wanted to find something to try the efficacy of this thing, but because he only had one green Ganoderma lucidum in his hand, he hesitated to start. I didn't expect that after not seeing it for a few days, a bunch of them have grown. This is good, just right to test the efficacy of the medicine. Not only did the small Ganoderma grow on the ground, but the big Ganoderma that the big deer brought also changed a lot. After not seeing it for a few days, the big green Ganoderma seemed to have grown a little bit bigger. It stood beside the big rock, like a big umbrella covering the small Ganoderma, protecting them. And the originally green body of the Ganoderma looked even greener. Suddenly, Cai Hongming thought that Ganoderma reproduces by spores, so the small Ganoderma on the ground should be grown from the spores spread by the big Ganoderma. Does that mean that a large area of Ganoderma will grow here in the future? It seems that I have to test the efficacy of the green Ganoderma. Otherwise, I don't know what to do with the green Ganoderma when there are too many in the future. Should I stir fry it like mushrooms? That would be too wasteful. After taking a look, Cai Hongming left the ruined paradise and released the little rooster and crystal scorpion, which had grown into a big rooster, to prevent the two guys from harming the small green Ganoderma lucidum that had just grown next to the big rock while he was away. After staying at home for a while, Cai Hongming put the big rooster in the backyard and then took the crystal scorpion to the mountain behind the village. He came back, not only to avoid those annoying media reporters and scientific research institutions, but also for other things. The water diluted jade toad liquid is not easy to store and often goes bad overnight. He tried many containers, including jars and bottles made of glass, plastic, wood, stone, bamboo, iron, copper, tin, gold, silver, ceramics, etc., but none of them worked. Later he thought of jade. The ancients said that jade was transformed from the essence of heaven and earth and was born with spirits and it could nourish people. Jade toad liquid is actually a kind of spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and jade itself has spirituality. Does that mean that jade toad liquid can be stored in a jade bottle? Cai Hongming didn't know, so he wanted to get a jade bottle to try. But now the price of jade is very expensive. A thing the size of a water drop costs hundreds or thousands. How much does it cost to make a bottle to store things? If he bought jade and made a bottle, but it couldn't hold the jade toad liquid, then he would have wasted the money, so he wanted to find another way. There is actually jade in the Kilian Mountains, known as Kilian jade. In fact, it is just some bright and lustrous stones, which are a little famous, but not as expensive as Hessian jade. He had encountered it in the mountains before, but he disdained the broken stone. Now that he needs to use it, he wants to pick it up and have someone carve a good to hold the jade toad liquid to see if it is useful. If it is useful, it won't be too late to spend money to buy a more expensive jade. Chapter 39, Purple Gourd, Part 1. In the autumn when flowers and trees wither, there is no vitality of spring, excitement of summer, and silence of winter. There is only bleakness. Bleak sky, bleak land, bleak mountain. The ground is covered with withered yellow leaves. When you step on them, you can hear bursts of rustling sounds. In this silent and deserted forest, this sound makes people feel creepy. When he got to the mountain, Cai Hongming took a hatchet from the wooden house, carried a faded white canvas backpack, and walked into the woods on the fallen leaves. The scorpion, whose shell had transformed into a crystal color, was placed on his shoulder. This guy lay there steadily with his tail erect, looking around, making people feel like a satellite dish searching for signals, which was very funny. The Kilian jade he saw before was still behind the sweet potato field, which was deep in the remnant of the Kilian mountains, so he had to go inside. The weather was getting colder day by day. Yesterday's weather forecast said that there was a cold front coming, and it was estimated that the first snow of the year would fall in a while. It would be even colder after the snow, so his barbecue stall would have to be closed, and he would have to go home. If he didn't have heating at home, he really couldn't stand it in this place. The cold in winter is not a big deal, but after the winter, the ice and snow melted, and the weather was dry for a while. Then the sandstorm came, and that was really deadly. The yellow sand was flying all over the sky, and there was no one within 50 meters. The sand and dust went into your mouth and lungs with your breath, making you almost suffocate. No one would ever think of experiencing that feeling. He spent a winter here 1 year. It was okay to be a little cold in winter, but he couldn't imagine what it would be like in spring. He stayed at home almost every day for those few months, and didn't dare to go out. His butt was almost covered with hair from sitting. Since then, he has never stayed here in winter again. The weather got colder, and the creatures in the forest gradually hibernated. Along the way, Cai Hongming didn't even see a fly. The further you go in, the denser the forest is. This place is far away from where people live, and few people come here. So even if it is not within the scope of the protected area, the ecology is very good. Suddenly, the sharp-eyed Cai Hongming saw a few wild pear trees growing sparsely on a hillside in the distance, and some ripe pears were hanging on the trees. He ran over quickly. This is a wild variety, sweet and juicy. Although it is a little small, it is much more delicious than the one sold on the market. Cai Hongming climbed up the tree to pick pears with great interest. When he got to the tree, he found that the pears that looked yellow and orange in the distance had either been pecked by birds or eaten by insects. There were not many good looking ones, but it was better than nothing, so he picked some good ones to eat. It is said that things eaten by birds are the sweetest, and it is true. This pear is sweet to the heart and lungs, and it feels refreshing to eat. Speaking of which, there are also many wild fruits on this mountain, including small nuts, hazelnuts, and bitter and sour wild apples. These wild apples are simply hard to eat. The best way is to make them into preserved fruits or jams, or make apple cider vinegar. However, making apple cider vinegar is very laborious, so he was too lazy to do it, and making jams and preserved fruits wastes sugar, so it is more cost effective to buy them in the market. After walking a little further, he came to the foot of a high mountain. The mountain stood tall and majestic, and at the foot was a seasonal river channel that was hit by mountain torrents. There were a bunch of round and flat stones in the river channel, and that was where he found the Killian jade at that time. So he started looking for it in the river channel. After searching for a while, he didn't find the Killian jade he was looking for. He couldn't help but wonder, because he remembered that it was clearly in this location. It's just that, when it's the rainy season here, the rainwater from the mountains flows down and merges into mountain torrents, and it may be washed away by the water, so he re-evaluated the location and started looking. After searching for a while, he still didn't find it, but he was so tired that he found a place to rest. The woods at this time are undoubtedly the most beautiful time of the year. The colorful leaves in the woods on both sides of the river make the valley look dazzling and fascinating. The beautiful scenery cannot be missed, and Cai Hongming looked up and looked around. Suddenly, he saw a tuft of green growing under the cliff of the opposite mountain. Now that the temperature has dropped, the grass and trees have withered and become pale yellow and dead white. I didn't expect that there would be something that could grow so green. Cai Hongming felt very incredible, so he stood up and walked over there, wanting to see what that thing was that could maintain its color in such cold weather. It was said to be opposite, but in fact there was a distance, because there was a U-shaped river between the two mountains. After walking for a while, when they arrived at the place, Cai Hongming found that the tuft of green was actually the leaves of a wild gourd, and there were several purple gourds hanging on the wild gourd. He had seen green gourds, white gourds, and yellow gourds, but he had never seen a purple gourd. He felt it was interesting, so he reached out to touch the gourd. At this time, something strange happened, and a black shadow suddenly shot out from the wild gourd vines. Cai Hongming subconsciously dodged to the side. The black shadow fell to the ground, and Cai Hongming looked closely, and found that it was a plateau pet viper. Damn, why did this thing come out in such a cold weather instead of hibernating? This kind of snake is also called the 7-step snake locally, which means that it will fall down after being bitten for 7 steps. It is a very poisonous plateau snake. The 7-step snake fell to the ground, lying on the ground with its body slightly raised, with a temper at the corner of its mouth, and its cold eyes stared at Cai Hongming. Cai Hongming secretly swallowed his saliva. He only had a hatchet in his hand, which was too short, and he might not be able to cut the snake. He didn't dare to catch this poisonous snake with his hands. If he was bitten, he would be finished. He looked around, thinking about whether to go to the woods in front, to cut a stick to kill this guy. At this moment, the crystal scorpion, that had been lying quietly on his shoulder, moved. The crystal scorpion quickly climbed down from his body, and crawled towards the 7-step snake. When the 7-step snake saw the crystal scorpion, which had grown to 10 centimeters, coming over, it immediately became alert, and kept spitting out its tongue, to warn it to leave. However, the crystal scorpion ignored the warning of the 7-step snake, and continued to crawl forward. The 7-step snake stared closely, and suddenly, it moved its body, opened its bloody mouth and bit the crystal scorpion. The crystal scorpion was not to be outdone, and suddenly crawled a few steps to the side. The tail needle, that had been raised, moved, and stabbed forward, just in time to stab the head of the 7-step snake. The solid head was instantly pierced with a hole, and it was deader than dead. After stabbing the 7-step snake to death, the crystal scorpion dragged its body to Cai Hongming, shaking its tail needle to ask for credit. Cai Hongming didn't expect the crystal scorpion to be so sharp. It almost blinded his eyes. It seems that he has to bring it with him when he goes into the forest in the future. It is simply a great weapon to prevent insects and snakes. Fortunately, this guy has regarded him as his master after a period of getting along. Otherwise he would have to be careful whether this guy would give him a needle when he was sleeping. After touching the head of the crystal scorpion and comforting it, Cai Hongming went to cut a branch to check the wild gourd to see if there were any snakes or cats in the leaves. The crystal scorpion looked at him, then dragged the 7-step snake to the side and started eating. Cai Hongming had been feeding it insects bought from the pet market, but he didn't expect it to eat snakes. It had a really strong taste. Chapter 40, Purple Gourd, Part 2. After a careful search, Cai Hongming did not find any traces of other 7-step snakes on the wild gourd vines, but he did find a snake hole next to the wild gourd. To prevent accidents, he blocked the snake hole to prevent another one from running out later. After doing this, he reached out to touch the purple gourd growing on the wild gourd. It was quite smooth and hard. He pinched it with his fingernails, and it didn't leave any marks. It seemed to be ripe, so he wanted to pick one down to see. When he was about to pick the gourd, he found that the gourd was not solid, and there seemed to be liquid flowing inside. He became more and more curious, pinching the vine at the mouth of the gourd hard, intending to pinch it off and pick it off to see. But he found that the gourd vine was very tough and couldn't be pinched at all. He picked up the hatchet and started cutting, but he couldn't cut it. His hatchet had been used for a long time, and the blade was a bit blunt. It seemed that he had to use the scissors that gardeners use to prune flowers and trees. Cai Hongming took a look and found that this purple gourd was not the kind of lavender, but the kind of purple that was black and purple, which looked very noble. This thing can grow so brightly at this time of year. Obviously it is not an ordinary variety, so he wanted to take it back to plant. Thinking of this, he started to work, using the hatchet as a shovel and dug around the wild gourd. After digging about 1 meter with the soil, he carried the wild gourd into the ruined cave paradise. First found a place to dig a hole to plant it, so as not to die when he went back. After planting, he watered it with some water diluted jade toad liquid, and then he left the ruined cave paradise. When he got outside, he suddenly saw a flash of light in the pit, where the wild gourd was originally growing. He was curious and walked over. When he pulled away the soil on it, he found that there was actually a big stone underneath, and the light came from the stone. He looked at it, and quickly cleaned all the soil on the stone, then gently knocked off the outer skin of the stone with a hatchet, and a black light suddenly appeared. The true face of the stone was revealed. It was a piece of black jade. He used a hatchet to break the outer skin of the black jade, revealing the crystal clear, moist jade inside. Generally speaking, if the black jade produced in Killian Mountain is not polished and waxed, it will appear very dry and without moisture. However, this piece of black jade looks bright and shiny, feels firm, clean and delicate. thick and warm, and does not look like the Killian jade he has seen before. Maybe it was buried underground, but it didn't matter to him. He just wanted to find a piece of jade to carve a bottle to see if it could hold the jade toad liquid. After seeing that this was the Killian jade he was looking for, he dug out the black jade with all his strength. It didn't seem very big when he saw it just now, but when it was all dug out, he found that it was bigger than he imagined. The whole black jade is oval, the size of a basin on the top and a little bigger at the bottom. He tried hard, but found that he couldn't lift it up at all, and could only move it slightly. How to carry it back with such a heavy weight? I don't know if it can be put into the broken paradise in the jade tripod, Cai Hongming thought, so he tried to hold the black jade, and found that it really went in. But for some reason, he felt dizzy and painful laughter coming out. So he found a place to drink some water and rest. After a while, the pain was relieved, but he was still dizzy, a bit like having a cold. His hands and feet were weak, and his body was floating. After resting for a while, Cai Hongming found that it was still the same, so he supported his body and walked back, even forgetting to bring the crystal scorpion. The crystal scorpion was smart. Seeing that he was leaving, it quickly climbed onto his shoulder and followed him back, and the 7-step snake had been eaten up by it. It is hard to imagine that a scorpion of about 10 centimeters can eat a 7-step snake of nearly 1 meter. Cai Hongming supported himself and returned to the wooden house, but finally couldn't hold on any longer and fell on the bed and fell asleep. Fortunately, when he came up, he had told Hachiko and the others that he would sleep upstairs at night, otherwise the old people would be worried. Seeing that the owner was sleeping on the bed, the crystal scorpion turned around in the room and found a corner to lie down. The next day, Cai Hongming woke up from hunger. His stomach was growling. He was so hungry. He looked at his phone, and it was already past 9 o'clock. He remembered that he went to bed without eating last night. No wonder he was so hungry. He was too lazy to cook, so he went outside to dig some soil from the place where the world's largest sweet potato grew, and then he took the crystal scorpion that had crawled over by itself down the mountain. Wow, your appetite has increased. You're catching up with our food. Beigong sat aside and teased Cai Hongming, who was like a starving ghost reincarnated, and kept shoveling rice into his mouth. Everyone ate in the morning, and the rest was prepared by Uncle Fu for him. When he came, whether he had eaten or not, Uncle Fu would cook his share. If he didn't eat, the worst thing would be to feed the chickens and ducks. There was no such thing as leftovers for the farmers. That's right, I guess it will grow after a while, and then I may eat more than Uncle Fu, Cai Hongming said shamelessly. Although Uncle Fu is stupid, his appetite is not stupid at all. He eats at least 3 large bowls of rice for every meal, which is almost a pound of rice. Recently, Cai Hongming drank the jade toad liquid diluted with water to rest, and his appetite increased slowly, but it was not obvious. He just ate 1 or 2 more bowls than before. However, it was very unusual for the old people who watched Cai Hongming grow up. You just brag, Beigong said to him unhappily. With something to fill his stomach, Cai Hongming suddenly felt energetic and full of energy. The feeling of emptiness and weakness yesterday disappeared without a trace. He felt very strange about this. What happened yesterday? It didn't seem like a cold. After thinking about it, he probably thought it was because he put the black jade into the broken cave paradise. It seems that he can't put 2 big things in it in the future, so as not to feel the same as yesterday. He really doesn't want to enjoy that taste again. After staying in Killian village for a whole morning and having lunch, Cai Hongming took the last few sheep that Zanyu raised to sell back. After selling these sheep, his barbecue stall should also be closed. It was dark when he returned to the town. Cai Hongming came back on time to avoid being entangled by those media reporters and scientific research institutions. According to his mother, a group of media and scientific research personnel came to the town in the past few days. They all came for the world's largest sweet potato he auctioned. The most important thing is that she sold a lot of sweet potatoes from her relatives. In the past few days, his mother would laugh every night when counting the money from selling sweet potatoes. In the afternoon, the manager of the county hotel also called and said that the hotel auction venue was ready and waiting to be used tomorrow. Everything is ready, just waiting for the auction to start tomorrow. I wonder how much those 2 sweet potatoes can be sold for. Cai Hongming thought while lying on the bed at night. Chapter 41 Auction. The next day, Cai Hongming got up early, brushed his teeth, washed his face, and ate. Then he called a forklift to fork the 2 big sweet potatoes to the hotel auction site. Although her mother could carry them, it would be cheap for her to carry them at this time. It would be better to get a car to be more upscale. Speaking of which, her mother used to be a slender lady, but since she had a child and came to the northwest, she somehow became stout and sturdy. She was almost a head taller than her father, and now she is so stout. Standing with her father, they are like an old hen and a little rooster, which is particularly eye-catching. The forklift transported the big sweet potatoes to the door of the hotel, and a waiter came with a small forklift to fork the big sweet potatoes and put them on the auction table. It was already late, and there were many people in the hotel, including media reporters and scientific research institutions. When the reporters saw Cai Hongming coming, they all took up their cameras to take pictures. The dazzling flashlights dazzled him. After the big sweet potatoes were placed, Cai Hongming walked up to the auction stage and saw that there were not only people from domestic scientific research institutions sitting in the audience, but also many people from abroad. However, if these people want to study something from the sweet potatoes, they will probably be disappointed, because this thing was accidentally grown by him using the jade toad liquid, and there is nothing in it. The jade toad liquid is the essence of the bright moon, which is a kind of spiritual energy of heaven and earth. In the deep mountains far away from the secular world, we will feel that the air is particularly fresh, and we feel refreshed when we breathe. In fact, this kind of air contains the so-called spiritual energy, but it is very thin. If you find a fertile land in such a place to plant sweet potatoes, the ones that grow will definitely be very big. It's not that no one has grown big sweet potatoes. There are many that weigh 60 to 70 kilograms, and there are also more than 100 kilograms. It's just that none of them are as amazing as the 2 sweet potatoes planted by Cai Hongming. Therefore, people from scientific research institutions are interested in studying how these sweet potatoes grow. If they can study the growth genes in sweet potatoes, the value is simply immeasurable. In order to gain a good reputation, the hotel manager made great efforts to set up the auction venue and even brought an auction hammer. Cai Hongming had only seen this thing on TV and had never really touched it. He was itching to use it, so he picked it up and knocked it a few times. The originally noisy venue suddenly became quiet. I didn't expect it to be like this. Cai Hongming couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed, but he didn't pause and said, "Welcome to the auction site of the world's largest sweet potato that has won the Guinness World Record." As we all know, sweet potatoes have a wide range of uses, including medicine, industry, food, agriculture, etc. If someone can figure out how my world's largest sweet potato grows, it will undoubtedly be very profitable. Let's not waste time and start the auction of the world's largest sweet potato that I grew. The starting price is 100,000, and each bid must not be less than 50,000. The auction starts now. The staff of the scientific research institution below shook their heads when they heard his offer, thinking that the starting price of a sweet potato is 100,000. He is really crazy about money. However, as the People's Daily said, if the secret of the growth of the world's largest sweet potato can be cracked, then not only can we grow it ourselves, but we can also sell the research results to various scientific research institutions or farmers in various countries, which will benefit us a lot. Just imagine that the sweet potato, which was originally just an ordinary yield, will increase by hundreds of times. The huge profit will make people jealous. So although they were very disdainful of his offer, as soon as he finished speaking, someone immediately raised a sign. "Okay, Mr. Number 8, 100,000. Mr. Number 9, 150,000. That one, 200,000, 250,000, 300,000. In just a moment, the world's largest sweet potato, which had already applied for the Guinness World Record, soared to 1 million. Fortunately, her mother was not there, otherwise if she knew that a sweet potato was auctioned for 1 million, she would be very happy. 1 million. Mr. Number 15, 1 million. Mr. Number 23, 1,500,000. Mr. Number 26, 1,100,000. After reaching 1 million, the fierce competition gradually eased, and the price did not rise as fast as it did at the beginning, but slowly increased. 1,200,000. Number 35. 1,200,000. 1,200,000. Okay, that friend has raised his sign. 1,200,000. 1,300,000. 1,300,000. Friend number 46. 1,300,000. Is there any more? 1,400,000. 1,400,000. Is there any more? Is there any more? Cai Hongming shouted loudly to stir up the atmosphere in the auction hall. When he saw the price reached 1,400,000, he stopped and said, I forgot to say just now that after the sweet potatoes are sold, I will also give a large bottle of soil taken from the roots to the gentleman who won the world's largest sweet potato. It can be said to be buy one get one free, which is extremely cheap. I wonder if anyone else wants to bid. 1,400,000. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? The Scientific Research Institute personnel in the auction hall secretly cursed him for being cunning. If it was just a big sweet potato, it would be fine, but if the soil was added, it would be different. In that way, not only can the growth genes of the big sweet potato be studied, but also various changes in the soil can be analyzed. The world's largest sweet potato could not have grown so big for no reason. There are only two reasons. One is the mutation of the sweet potato itself, and the other is definitely the rich nutrients in the soil. Hearing him use this weapon, the people below began to discuss. Then, the price, which had been stagnant, rose again. In just a moment, it rose to 2 million, and then it never moved again. No one is stupid. A sweet potato auction for 2 million is already a lot. Most of the official scientific research institutions in China are government allocated scientific research funds, and they don't have that much money to squander. The fact that it can be auctioned at such a high price is already the result of competition between domestic private scientific research institutions and foreign institutions. However, there is only so much, and no one will want it, even if it is higher. After all, this is only the first payment, and the money invested in research will be the bulk. 2 million. Mr. Number 3, 2 million. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? 2 million for the first time, 2 million for the second time, and 2 million for the third time. Okay, deal. Thank you, sir. Next, we will continue to auction the sweet potato that grew with the world's largest sweet potato, which is the world's second largest sweet potato. Similarly, friends who win the auction will also receive a portion of the soil from the roots of the world's largest sweet potato. Now we start the auction. The auction continued. After the auction, after deducting taxes, Cai Hongming earned a total of 3.25 million. Such a huge profit made him wonder whether he could make 1 or 2 big sweet potatoes next year. This was more than the barbecue he had worked so hard to sell for a year, and it was faster than robbing a bank. But that was a matter for the future. After the auction, a bunch of reporters came over to interview him. Cai Hongming had no choice but to accept it, otherwise someone would chase him home when he went out, which would be even more annoying. After the interview, it was already noon, and the hotel manager came over enthusiastically to invite him to have dinner together, but Cai Hongming refused without even thinking about it. He had been to this hotel before, and the dishes were worse than his mother's, and he didn't want to torture his stomach. Just a few steps away from home, Cai Hongming settled the fee for renting the venue with a hotel and walked home. Chapter 42. The little girl who was not cute at all. Cai Hongming walked on the street, looking around. Ever since the government repaired the street in front of his house and named it a historical old street, many people came here to shop during holidays, and then a bunch of businessmen came to open shops, and the street gradually became prosperous. But this has nothing to do with his family. His family is a bone setting and massage clinic. People who come to play can't come to get their bones set, so his business is still the same. Walking towards home, Cai Hongming suddenly saw a new bakery called elixir opened on the roadside. The decoration inside is quite high-end. Thinking that he hadn't eaten bread for a long time, he walked in. As soon as he opened the door, he heard a soft and greasy electronic voice welcome to elixir Bakery. When he entered, he saw a beautiful back busy in front of the oven, and the fragrance of bread came to his nose. not to mention how the bread tastes. Just this back alone can make people think about it. After taking a quick look, Cai Hongming walked to the shelf full of bread and pastries and looked at them. There were all kinds of bread, cakes, and biscuits on the shelf. They looked good, but he didn't know how they tasted. He walked around the store, picked 2 bags of pillow bread with raisins, some purple potato tarts and durian pastries, and walked over to pay. Durian pastries taste bad when eaten raw, but if they are made into durian pastries and eaten with tea or juice, the taste is different and very delicious. Boss, let's settle the bill. Cai Hongming walked to the counter and called the female boss who was busy in front of the oven. The female boss turned around when she heard it. Cai Hongming couldn't help but widen his eyes when he saw her face. This woman was clearly the one he met in the coffee shop in the city. He remembered that he was beaten by the fat woman in his junior high school class for her. How could it be such a coincidence? It's true that people meet everywhere in life. It's a good autumn with cool weather. For a moment, Cai Hongming was extremely embarrassed. When Xinjin Rao saw him, she remembered the scene where he was beaten in the coffee shop, and she burst into laughter. This smile was like a crab apple blossoming, with a stunning appearance that made Cai Hongming dumbfounded. Xinjin Rao felt embarrassed by his gaze and glared at him angrily. At this time, the door was pushed open and a voice of welcome to Filinkin bakery sounded. Cai Hongming woke up and couldn't help but wonder in his heart why his concentration was so poor. The one who pushed the door was a little girl holding an inflatable golden hoop in her hand, and she jumped in. Cai Hongming took a look and found that he knew this girl. She was the little brat who hit him in the eye at the bus stop that day. What happened today? Why are so many people gathered together? Is the tragedy of that day going to happen again? Question mark. When the little girl came in and saw him, she immediately recognized him. She was afraid that he would retaliate against her for hitting him in the eye, so she immediately picked up the golden hoop and pointed it at him, saying, "Bad uncle, don't come over here, or I will hit you with the golden hoop." This little brat can threaten people. Cai Hongming glanced at her and threatened, "Little brat, believe it or not, I will scratch your golden hoop into a pile of mud. I'm not afraid, I also know Wing Chun, haha." As she said that, the little girl performed a few classic Wing Chun punches on the spot. Cai Hongming was amazed. Whose child is this? She is so young that she is allowed to learn kung fu. What if she goes to kindergarten and bullies other kids? Will she have a boyfriend in the future? Yeah, come here. Sister made bear cookies for you. Xinjin Rao was dissatisfied with him scaring the child. She glared at him and waved to Yaya. Hearing that Xinjin Rao actually called herself sister, Cai Hongming raised his eyebrows and glanced at her leisurely, thinking what's wrong with girls nowadays. Although they are beautiful, they are already old and still let children call you sister. Isn't this embarrassing? Xinjin Rao didn't know what he was thinking and took out the prepared biscuits for Yaya to eat. Yaya took it and started to eat it fiercely. After a long time, she tilted her head and said, "Mom told me not to eat at my sister's place all the time. She said that my sister's things are for selling and can't be eaten casually. Little brat, it would be better if you thought so earlier. What's the point of saying these things now that you have stuffed your mouth with food?" Cai Hongming complained in his heart. Xinjin Rao listened, touched Yaya's head lovingly and said, "It doesn't matter, Yaya, if you like to eat, just come. Sister has plenty of biscuits here. At worst, Yaya can treat me to eat when she grows up." Yeah. Yaya nodded heavily. After secretly glancing at Cai Hongming, Yaya quietly waved to Xinjin Rao and said, "Sister, come here, I'll tell you something." As she spoke, she leaned over to whisper in Xinjin Rao's ear. After listening, Xinjin Rao glanced at Cai Hongming and laughed with her hands covering her mouth. Cai Hongming knew without thinking that the little brat was saying bad things about him, and he couldn't help but grin and threaten, "Little brat, believe it or not, I will beat your little butt. I'm not afraid," Yaya said loudly with her hands on her waist. "If you dare to hit me, I will ask my aunt to beat you, but she knows Wing Chun." Cai Hongming looked at her with contempt and said, "Even if your aunt comes, I'm not afraid. I can pinch her to death, like pinching a fly with just one little finger." As soon as the voice fell, the door of the bakery was opened, and a beautiful woman walked in. Yaya saw it, called auntie and ran over happily. Why are you running around everywhere? What if you are caught by the bad guys? Ye's aunt hugged Ye in her arms and scolded her. I came to play with my sister. There won't be any bad people, Ye said. Her eyes turned, and she pointed at Cai Hongming and said, Aunt, this bad uncle can pinch you to death with just one little finger. Really? When Aunt Ye heard this, her eyebrows were raised, and she looked at Cai Hongming. When she came in, Cai Hongming couldn't help but kick in his heart, secretly complaining, thinking, why is it this fat woman again? She used to sit in front of him, and was fat and bullied as she wanted. Why is she so hot-tempered after growing up and becoming slim? It's true that girls change a lot when they grow up. It seems that the ancient saying that a broad mind makes a fat body may not be without reason. Seeing her looking at him after hearing Ye's slander, Cai Hongming hurriedly explained, no, it's absolutely not true. How could I have this ability? Yes, it is true, and my sister her did too. Ye shouted. Cai Hongming rolled his eyes and thought that this little brat is really not cute at all. Seeing him like this, Xinjin Rao couldn't help but think of the day when Cai Hongming was beaten by Shiwana, and she chuckled again. Cai Hongming curled his lips secretly. What kind of person is this, still gloating at this time? He saw that something was wrong, so he wanted to leave, and hurriedly said to Xinjin Rao, boss, let's settle the bill. How much is it? Xinjin Rao held back her laughter and said, last time you treated me to steak in the coffee shop, I'll treat you this time. Can you not mention what happened that day? Cai Hongming was speechless. Besides, how could the price of this bread be compared with that of steak? This was too much of a bargain. But now was obviously not the time to care about these things. He hurriedly picked up the bread and snacks she had packed and left. Seeing him leave, Ye struggled to get off Shiwana, opened the door, and secretly followed him out. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 43. The old county magistrate arrives. Cai Hongming took a few steps and found Ye following him stealthily. However, he was too lazy to pay attention to her and just walked forward. Ye thought he didn't see her, so she followed him quietly on tiptoe, hiding in the corners from time to time, just like a little spy. After following for a while, she saw Cai Hongming walk into a store, so she ran over and lay down at the door to secretly look inside. The fat boy lived next door. He was happily playing with the water gun his mother had just bought for him. Suddenly, he saw Ye lying at the door of the clinic. He didn't know what she was doing, so he ran over curiously and stood behind her to look inside. Ye looked for a long time, but didn't see Cai Hongming. She turned around with a pout, but she didn't know there was a fat boy behind her, and she bumped into him. Ouch. Ye touched her head and looked at the thing that hit her. It turned out to be a little fat boy. She couldn't help but put her hands on her hips and shouted angrily, you little fat boy, what are you doing here? You are the one who is sneaking around. The little fat boy said, and then asked curiously, what are you doing here? Are you trying to steal something? You are the one who wants to steal something. What's your name? My name is Chen Zezi, and you? What's your name? My name is Ye. How old are you? 4 years old. I'm 5 years old, 1 year older than you. You have to call me sister Ye. Ye won the age contest, and the little fat boy had to call Ye sister. Seeing that he was familiar with this place, Ye asked about Cai Hongming, and the little fat boy foolishly told her. Cai Hongming went home to have a rest after dinner, and went out to buy a pair of gardening shears, intending to cut open the purple gourd planted in the broken cave paradise in the jade tripod, to see what was inside. On the way back, he passed by the store where he bought dragon bone healing ointment last time, and was stopped by brothers in. Hongming, bring me 10 pieces of the healing ointment you gave me last time. Cai Hongming was surprised and asked, brothers in, why did you buy so many? You won't get so many hemorrhoids all of a sudden, will you? Bullshit. What do you mean by so many all of a sudden? I saved them to give to others later. Your new ointment is really amazing. I felt that it was much less the next day after I applied it, and it was healed the next day. I said, "You didn't really put dragon bones in it, did you?" Brother-in asked curiously. "Of course, why would I lie to you?" Cai Hongming said. "Then your ointment is not very expensive?" "No, but it is more expensive than other ointments. After all, it contains dragon bones, so one piece is dozens of yuan more expensive than before. It costs 100 yuan. 100, okay. Bring me 10 pieces, and I'll pay you later." Then wait a moment. After saying that, Cai Hongming quickly ran home to get the ointment for him. He took the money from Brothers-in and counted it. He was so happy that he thought that the god of wealth had come, and he couldn't stop it. When he returned home, he was about to go upstairs to the ruined paradise to cut purple goods, but he saw the old county chief, the local parent official, coming. This old county chief is also a legendary figure. He was promoted from village chief, town chief to county chief. Later, he wanted to transfer him to the city, but he refused. He just said that he wanted to stay in Giling and do practical things for the county. He also knew the old county chief. As an old man, it is inevitable that he will have backaches, so he came to his father for treatment. After a few visits, everyone became familiar with each other. There was also a secretary accompanying the old county chief, but this time he was obviously not looking for Cai Hongming. As soon as he came in, he said to Cai Hongming, "Hongming, are you free? Let's find a place to talk." Cai Hongming took him to the backyard. There was a pair of stone tables and chairs in the backyard, which was used by their family to cool off in summer. Although he didn't know what the old county chief came here for today, they were all acquaintances, so Cai Hongming and his wife came to accompany him to make tea. After 3 cups of tea, the old county chief said, "I came here today mainly for one thing. Didn't Hongming say on TV last time that he wanted to contract the desert? I don't know what's going on now. If you still want to contract it, the county will try to give it to you at a low price. If you are short of money, the county will also provide you with an interest-free loan. If the desert you contract is transformed well, the county will give you subsidies." Cai Hongming didn't expect that the old county chief came here for this. Although he had thought about contracting the desert, it was just a thought, and he wanted to buy it more. After all, the power is still in the hands of the government after the contract, and only if you buy it can it be yours. In China, many officials can do anything for the sake of profit. If the desert is transformed well, it is inevitable that someone will be jealous and want to come and snatch it. What can you do when your arms can't lift your thighs? But how can you be willing to see that you have worked hard to transform a desert into an oasis, but it is taken away from you? Although this may not happen, it is not impossible. Didn't a national model worker in desert control sue the government for forcibly collecting her hard-earned desert control results last year? There is no smoke without fire, so contracting the desert is not very safe. People still have the right to take it back. When the time comes, they will compensate you with a little money and you will have no place to cry. But it is different if you buy it. Once you buy it, it is your own land. Although the land is still nominally owned by the state, it is actually privately owned. If others want to expropriate it, they will be hesitant. At least the compensation will be higher. Why do you want to contract the desert? What are you doing when you are full? We don't want to contract. Luanfeng heard it and immediately shouted. In fact, it doesn't cost much to contract the desert. In a place like Kilian village that lacks water, a few dozen yuan per mu is enough. The main thing is the investment in planting trees after contracting the desert, which is a headache. What are you yelling about? Listen to your son. Cai Hongming said beside him. He has always been the one who makes the decisions on major family matters. Luanfeng calmed down when he heard it. County magistrate, I want the desert land over there in our village, but I don't want to contract it. I want to buy it. Cai Hongming said. Why do you buy the land over there? It's full of sand and you can't grow anything. Are you stupid? Luanfeng glared. Let my son speak. Cai Hongming said. Oh, mom, actually our village is not all sandy. I've seen that. As long as we dig deeper, we will find fertile soil. If we use it to grow sweet potatoes or something, it will definitely grow well. It's just that there is a lack of water. Yes, what are you doing here? Because of the lack of water. The old county magistrate was also distressed after listening. Yes, wasn't it because of the lack of water that people were moved out? If it is contracted, it is obviously a bit unrealistic to pull a water pipe from the water source, because the nearest water source in Kilian village is 10 kilometers away. If a water pipe is built, the investment will be huge. That's why I want to buy it. I can slowly work on my own land. If it is contracted, it will not be cost effective. Cai Hongming said. If you really want to buy it, the county can sell it to you cheaper, 5,000 per mu, no less. But if it is contracted land, it only costs 50 per mu. I think it is more cost effective for you to contract it. The county will sign a 70-year contract with you, and it will be extended when the contract expires. The price is too high. Tumen only gives 8,000 per mu of land. The land over in Kilian village is all sand, and there is no water or electricity, and it still costs 5,000. It's too expensive. I heard that an acre of land in Xinjiang only costs 2,000. We might as well buy it there. Luanfeng interrupted. The old county chief was also troubled by her, and had to explain. Luanfeng, you can't calculate it this way. Isn't it uneasy in the western Xinjiang? It's far from us. Isn't it appropriate to buy there? Then it can't be sold so expensively. I feel that 3,000 is about right. It's not cost effective. If it's too expensive, it's better for us to grow it ourselves. It doesn't cost money. The government will give subsidies when the time comes. There is no need to contract or buy at all. What Mo Luanfeng said was also true. Regarding sand control and sand fixation, the provincial government once made a regulation that all ground vegetation owned by individuals in desert sand fixation belongs to individuals. If it is done well, the government will give subsidies and provide loans. These things can be passed down in the future. We need to hold a meeting to discuss it. The old county chief couldn't argue with Ma Luanfeng, so he had to say that he would go back to hold a meeting to discuss it, and then left. Cai Hongming originally thought that 5,000 was already very cheap, but he didn't expect his mother to be so amazing. She suddenly reduced it to 3,000, which was no different from giving it away for free. He realized for the first time that his mother was really amazing. Chapter 44, Wine. The county government was not far from Cai Hongming's clinic, so the old county chief did not take a car. When he came out, he and his secretary walked on the road for a while, and suddenly turned to the secretary next to him and asked, "Is 5,000 yuan an acre of land expensive?" The secretary had followed him for a long time, and knew what he wanted to ask, so he smiled and said, "It depends on where it is. If it is in the county, let alone 5,000, you can't buy it for 50,000. But if it is in Kilian village, it's hard to say. It's far from the county, the transportation is inconvenient, and there is a lack of water. Even if it is given away for free, there may not be anyone who wants it, otherwise the people in their village would not move out. Besides, the province has already stipulated that, as long as he goes to the land management office to file a case, no one will care how much land he wants. If the sand control effect is good, the state will have to give him subsidies. Isn't our industrial zone also saying that as long as the company moves in, it doesn't have to pay land fees? I think the money can be given to him less, but some restrictions should be imposed on him to prevent young people from being ignorant and reckless. The old county chief listened, nodded, and said nothing, and continued to move forward. If it weren't for the inexplicable phone call from the higher-ups, he wouldn't have wanted to get involved in this matter. Yesterday morning, he was drinking tea in his office when the phone rang. It was a call from the city, who called by name and said, "The sweet potato brother in your county has become famous recently. The government should vigorously support young people with ideas like this. We can't let young people's dreams die." It's disheartening. The call came for no apparent reason, and the caller hung up. But the old county magistrate was not at peace. He had paid party dues for decades, and served as an official for decades. He had some ideological awareness. Thinking of the words and the people's daily, his mind suddenly brightened. The city wanted to set an example. Sand control has always been a difficult problem in China, but young people now have no interest in these things. What they like most is to chat online, pick up girls, make money, and work hard for their careers. who would be willing to settle down in the yellow sand. Now that he finally has a talent, he must grasp it well. If he manages the desert he contracted well in the future, he can use it as a typical propaganda to attract more people, to contribute to the country's great cause of sand control. The most important thing is that, if he manages it well, he may be able to add a strong mark to his political achievements. At least he can't escape the fact that he vigorously supports young people to start businesses. You know, this person has been on national television and newspapers. When the TV reports it, he will also be proud of it. It was because of this idea that the old county magistrate came to him. Unexpectedly, Cai Hongming gave him a problem, wanting to buy land, and the price was so low. If the government was his, he would agree without saying a word. After all, the yellow sand was not edible or drinkable, so it would be a good thing to sell it for some money. Unfortunately, it was not his, and he had to discuss it with everyone. Otherwise he would become a one-man show, and when someone exposed it, he would not be able to keep his hat as a county magistrate. Let's not mention the twists and turns in the old county magistrate's heart. After the old county magistrate left, Cai Shianfu and Ma Luanfeng sat in front of Cai Hongming, and it seemed that they were going to have a trial. Son, do you have money, but nowhere to spend it? If so, give it to me, and let me save it for you as a wife, so that you don't mess around. Ma Luanfeng had a bad temper, and couldn't hold back when she had something to say, so she spoke up immediately. Cai Hongming's parents were very good. Because the old man had money himself, he never asked his son for money, and he didn't give it to him. He kept it all for himself. Mom, I really want to buy some land to grow things. What's the difference between 3,000 yuan per mu and giving it away for free? Then we can grow some elixir and amadendron, sea buckthorn, elaeagnus, and cactus, and plant sweet potatoes in it. In a few years, if the harvest is good, we can get back the money we spent on the land. Not only that, we can also raise chickens and sheep, and there are plenty of opportunities to make money. Ma Luanfeng was moved when she heard that there was money to be made, but when she thought about how much money she would spend on buying land, she was unwilling to do so. That's not good either. Isn't there no water over there? It's not that there is no water, but there is not enough water. Didn't I tell you before that there is a well in the broken Taoist temple on the mountain behind our village? The water is very sweet, and there is a lot of water, which can be used for irrigation. Since you have thought it through, we won't stop you, but you still have to think about it carefully. Buying land doesn't cost much, but the later investment is large, and it may not be as good as you think. Cai Shianfu said. Dad, I know. Cai Hongming responded quickly. No. Ma Luanfeng slammed the table hard. Mom, why is it not possible? Cai Hongming asked. 3,000 yuan is too expensive to buy land. I'm going to talk to the old county magistrate and ask him to make it cheaper. After saying that, Ma Luanfeng ran out in a hurry. Cai Hongming was stunned. He thought his mother disagreed. It turned out that she thought the price of the land was too high. But 3,000 yuan is expensive? Cai Hongming felt very incredible and asked his father, Dad, is it really only 2,000 yuan per mu of land in western Xinjiang? Well, some are cheaper. After all, the place over there is big, but it's all uncultivated wasteland. It's just that it's better over there than the desert here. At least there is water and soil, unlike here where there is sand and no water. After Cai Shianfu finished speaking, he said earnestly, since you want to buy land, you must take it seriously. Don't hammer here and there. In the end, nothing will be achieved. That would be bad. I know, Dad. After speaking, Cai Shianfu went to the lobby to look after the store, while Cai Hongming went upstairs. As for Ma Luanfeng, Cai Hongming and his father could not control her. But if the price can be lowered a little bit, that would be great. But it doesn't matter if it doesn't work. Back in the room, Cai Hongming locked the door, entered the broken paradise in the jade tripod, took out the newly bought gardening scissors, and cut a purple gourd. The purple gourd vine is very tough, and he took the scissors to cut it for a long time before cutting it off. After cutting it off, he found a small hacksaw from home and sawed the mouth of the gourd. After sawing it open, a fragrance immediately came to his nose, which seemed to have a little wine aroma, but it didn't seem to be Cai Hongming took the gourd and looked at it and wanted to drink it to see if the water inside was wine. Suddenly, he thought of the gourd vine that was crawled by a snake and whether the water in the gourd was also poisonous. Thinking of it, he was a little worried, so he wanted to find something to try. He glanced around and happened to see the crystal scorpion lying in the box. The crystal scorpion was really unlucky. He was treated as a drug tester by him. It was really sad. If it could speak, I don't know if it would protest that he had no animal rights. Seeing it, Cai Hongming had an idea, so he took a small cup, poured some water from the gourd, and put it in front of the scorpion for it to drink. The little guy was silly and didn't care whether it was poisonous or not and just drank it. After a while, seeing that the crystal scorpion was fine after drinking the gourd water, Cai Hongming was relieved. He put his mouth to the gourd and drank a little and felt that the water in the gourd was strange, like wine but not wine. After thinking about it, he couldn't tell the difference, so he took the gourd downstairs and planned to let his father taste it. He was an expert in drinking. Chapter 45. Not wine. Walking downstairs, Cai Hongming was still a little worried about the liquid in the gourd that looked like water or wine. So, he took some to feed the chickens at home, fed it to the ants in the yard, poured it on the grass and moss, and finally took a piece of silver to try. After a long time, after seeing that everything was fine, he took the gourd to the lobby. The bone setting and massage clinic does not have much business during the day, but it is better at night, because people go to work during the day and have no time, only at night. But it is hard to say, sometimes it is also very good during the day. When he came to the lobby, his father was sitting on the solid wood sofa, drinking tea and watching TV, while his mother was nowhere to be seen. It seemed that she had gone to see the old county magistrate and had not returned yet. Cai Hongming walked to his father, took a teacup, poured some water from the purple gourd, handed it over, and said, "Dad, take a look at this thing, to see if it's wine." Cai Xianfu took a look at the purple gourd in his hand, took a sip from the teacup, felt nothing, took another sip, smacked his lips, and said, "It seems to be wine, but it shouldn't be wine. It doesn't taste like wine, it just has the aroma of wine." "What kind of wine?" At this time, Luanfeng came in from outside in a hurry, just heard Cai Xianfu's words, and asked, "I don't know where your son got this thing from. It looks a bit like wine, but it's not wine." "Oh, pour me a cup and let me try it." Luanfeng took a teacup and put it in front of Cai Hongming and said. Cai Hongming poured her a cup. His mother was also good at drinking. Although she was not the type of hero in the country of wine, she was also a woman who was not inferior to men. Luanfeng tasted it, licked her lips, and said, "It's not wine. Where did you get this stuff? Didn't someone cheat you by mixing wine with water?" "Mom, am I that stupid?" Cai Hongming said, "I picked this from a gourd on the mountain. I saw that there seemed to be something inside the gourd, so I poured it out to see, but I didn't expect it to be like this. The gourd is probably broken, and this is the stinky water from the gourd inside." Luanfeng said very experiencedly, "Nonsense. Have you ever seen the stinky water from the gourd taste like this? In my opinion, it's the wine that has naturally fermented, because the things in the gourd have been exposed to the sun for too long. Have you ever seen wine taste like this? That means it hasn't been fully fermented yet, it's in a semi-fermented state." Cai Xianfu argued with his neck stretched. "You also know about fermentation and semi-fermentation. When you made bean paste before, you said it was fermented, and you geniusly put chili peppers in the balcony to dry, but worms grew on it. Have you forgotten it? That's the same thing as this." Cai Xianfu said with a red face. The incident of making bean paste was undoubtedly the biggest failure in his life. I remember that it was an autumn morning. He saw someone making bean paste on TV, and bought some soybeans to make bean paste. Who knew that he was unlucky? It rained for a whole week and the weather was hot. When he took it down, he saw that it had grown worms. Luanfeng has used this incident as a typical education over the years. This woman, how come she doesn't feel tired after talking about it for so many years? Seeing that the two old people were about to quarrel, Cai Hongming hurriedly said, "Mom, how did you go to the old county magistrate to ask? Did he charge us less money? That old man is a crooked melon." When I asked him to do something, he would say yeah and said that he had to hold a meeting to discuss it. He doesn't even have this little courage. No wonder he is still a county magistrate after so many years. Luan Feng heard it and said angrily, "This old mother, when she is good to me, she calls me the old county magistrate, but when she is not good to me, she becomes an old man. It really makes people wonder what to say. Such a big thing naturally cannot leave any handle, otherwise if it is spread out, his political career will be over." Although he did not hear the news of the price reduction, Cai Hongming did not care. If it can be kept at 3,000, it would be a good thing. Where can you find such a price? In southern Fujian, renting an acre of paddy field is almost the same price. Of course, the sandy land here is incomparable to that in southern Fujian. Over there, even sand can grow grass by itself after a year or half a year, but here, haha, it is impossible to grow hair. Hey, this stuff tastes good, pour me another cup to try. Luan Feng drank all the good water in the teacup, and felt the sweetness in her mouth. The taste was sweeter than spring water, and it was accompanied by bursts of wine aroma, which made people linger, so she asked for another cup. "It's good, but don't drink it directly. There may be bacteria or something in it. Boil it before drinking, it's safer," Cai Xianfu said beside him. Cai Hongming felt that it made sense, so he handed the purple good to his mother and asked her to pour it into the electric stove to burn it. However, he did not expect that the water in the good would suddenly emit a strong aroma of wine after being heated. Cai Hongming saw it and poured a cup to drink. After drinking it, he found that there was a hint of wine in the heated wine, but it was just a hint, not much. Now he finally confirmed that the water in the good was wine, but the degree was very low, almost nothing. Luan Feng felt that the water in the good was really delicious. She went out for a walk and felt a little thirsty again, so she and Cai Xianfu divided the good of water. Cai Hongming didn't care about it. Anyway, there were several goods in the broken cave paradise. After dinner in the evening, he walked leisurely to the barbecue stall. The weather was getting colder, and it was almost time to close his barbecue stall. Today was the last day. After closing the barbecue stall, he played here for a while and saw how the old county magistrate was doing. If it was suitable, he would buy the land. But it is useless to buy it in this weather. We have to wait until the weather warms up in the spring of next year before we can make any move. During this time, he can also go back to his hometown in southern Fujian to play for a while. These days, there are mutton, beef and vegetable hot pot, and the barbecue stall has been doing much better business. Today is Sunday, so when Cai Hongming came, the barbecue stall was basically full of people. "Hey, brother Big Bird is here. We are making a fortune today." Ziwi Feng came to eat again today, and when he saw Cai Hongming, he immediately shouted. Now everyone in the town knows that he has sold sweet potatoes for more than 3 million, which feels like robbing a bank. "What kind of fortune is it?" "It's not much money," Cai Hongming said calmly. "It's already several million, but there's still not much money." "How much is considered money?" "At least hundreds of millions is enough. With this little, it's hard to buy a good car. You can buy a plane, but you still want to buy a car. Compared with you, we are paupers. In fact, it's not difficult for you to become a millionaire," Cai Hongming said mysteriously, which immediately attracted Ziwi Feng's interest. "What do you mean? Didn't the old man Liu from the rice factory always want to marry his daughter? He said that whoever marries his daughter will give a dowry of 1 million. TSK, his daughter won't be accepted, even if he gives her a million," Ziwi Feng said disdainfully. "Speaking of which, the daughter of the old man Liu from the rice factory is Cai Hongming's classmate. One of her eyes is black and the other is white. Not only is she ugly, but she speaks without thinking. She is a little stupid, but not completely stupid, and her intelligence is very problematic. She is the kind of person who can take off her pants and poop in the street when she is in a hurry, which is very speechless." "Don't say that. Old Liu's daughter is pretty good. At least she's a woman," Cai Hongming gloated. "So what if she's not a woman?" Suddenly, a roar came from behind. Cai Hongming turned around and was shocked to find that the old man Liu he mentioned had stood behind him. Damn it, how come no one told him when this old man came? He turned around and looked at Ziwi Feng. who knew that this kid saw that the situation was not right and sat back in his seat, pretending to eat. Damn, he is so lucky to have such a friend. Chapter 46, Shiwana. Uncle Liu, how come you have time to come here today? Cai Hongming turned around and asked old Liu with a big smile on his face. You don't have to call me so nicely. Do you think I don't know that you guys call me Uncle Liu sweetly in front of others, but call me old Liu with disdain behind others? A group of people say bad things about my daughter all over the town. It's all because of you guys that my Dachu can't get married yet. Old Liu said angrily. It's all because of these guys who were born by their mother but not raised by her. They talk about her daughter all day long. Although she is not very good, they can't talk about it everywhere. Well, now she can't get married. It's a waste of money. What should I do? Old Liu's words were a bit serious. Cai Hongming thought with malice in his heart, this old man will not force those who say bad things about his Dachu to marry his daughter in the end. Exclamation mark. Thinking of his excellent daughter, Cai Hongming shuddered and said quickly, these guys are outspoken. When I see them in the future, I will help you, Uncle Liu, to teach them a lesson. You think you are a good person. Except for your father Cheyenne Fu, no one in your family is good. Especially your mother. I don't know what's in her mind. The rice we eat at home has worms, but she came to tell me that there is something wrong with my rice. My rice is freshly ground every day, and there is a ghost worm. Do I raise that worm specially for your family? I, Liu Laoshi, am not that wicked. Uncle Liu, are you going to tell this to my mother? Cai Hongming reminded kindly. When old Liu heard this, he was almost angry to death. If he dared to say it, could he yell here? He couldn't help but look at the bone setting and massage clinic quietly, for fear that Ma Luanfeng would suddenly come and see him teaching her son a lesson for running away. He was relieved when he found that there was no such thing. But he was too lazy to say anything to Cai Hongming, so he waved his hand and said, give me 2 beggar chickens, 40 skewers of mutton, a hot pot, and some beef, vegetables and other good things. Hurry up. Got it, Uncle Liu. You can do it over there, and it will be ready soon. After dealing with old man Liu, Cai Hongming wiped the cold sweat on his forehead. Is this old man angry today? Why is he so angry? The barbecue stall's business was already good, and with the 40 skewers of old man Liu, the fat man was a little too busy, so Cai Hongming started grilling by himself. Hongming. Cai Hongming was concentrating on grilling skewers when he suddenly heard someone calling him in front of him. He looked up and saw a middle-aged man smiling at him. There was a girl leaning next to the middle-aged man. It was the fat woman who blackened his eyes in the coffee shop last time. The fat woman's real name is Shiwana, and she is the only daughter of the middle-aged man Shiming. Last time, it was his mother and his mother who conspired to arrange a blind date for the two. Here, Cai Hongming couldn't help but blame his mother for not informing him in advance to let him be prepared. Anyone who sees the fat woman who used to be like a spinning top in school turning into a girl with a graceful figure now would make a mistake, let alone him. He was punched in vain and had no place to complain. Hello, teacher. Cai Hongming saluted Shiming with an awkward salute. Shiming used to be the director of the town police station and later became the director of the county public security bureau. Now he has been transferred to the city. When he was in the police station, he handled many cases of Cai Hongming fighting with others, so the two were very familiar with each other. You are still as naughty as before. Do you still fight with others often now? Shiming teased Cai Hongming. Look at what you said. Am I that kind of person? Most of the time, others beat me, and I just defend myself. Cai Hongming argued. You were over-defending. If it weren't for my father helping you, you would have been locked in a cage to educate yourself. Shiwana interrupted. Yes, it's all thanks to the teacher's help that I'm where I'm today. To repay the teacher's kindness, I'll treat you today. In front of Shiming, Cai Hongming didn't want to argue with a girl like her, so he responded casually. You're so hypocritical. I don't need you to treat me. Someone has already treated me. Shiwana pouted. Who? Cai Hongming turned his head and saw that old man Liu was waving at him. It turned out that he was treating him. He thought that the always stingy old man Liu had changed his nature and was so generous. It turned out that he was treating him. No wonder. You young people can chat slowly. I'll go over and talk to old Liu. Shiming patted Cai Hongming's shoulder playfully and walked over. This old man clearly wanted to bring them together. Why is this popular among the elderly now? He is so young and hasn't had enough fun yet, so he doesn't want to get married so early. But with this beautiful woman in front of him, what if he misses the flower and regrets it? Cai Hongming was distressed. Although Shiwana was angry and hid him in the coffee shop, she actually had a good impression of Cai Hongming. She didn't know if she had a preference for being abused. She was often bullied by him in junior high school, but she couldn't hate him. Instead, she felt a little happy. This feeling was very strange. Cai Hongming had never had much contact with girls, let alone a blind date, so he felt a little embarrassed for a while. Seeing Shiwana slowly approaching him, he picked up a skewer of grilled lamb and handed it to her. Come, try my grilled lamb skewers. Shiwana was not polite. She took it and started eating. She felt that it tasted good. While grilling the lamb skewers, Cai Hongming felt a little distracted, not knowing whether it was the smell of the lamb or the body fragrance of the beautiful woman next to him. He was so confused that he couldn't control himself. One of them was grilling lamb skewers, and the other was eating lamb. The crackling sound of the burning charcoal and the hissing sound of the lamb skewers being roasted came from the side, and the atmosphere seemed a little solemn. Cai Hongming was not used to this feeling, so he asked, "What are you doing now? Don't you know?" Shiwana said in surprise. Cai Hongming shook his head. Why should he know? He was always too lazy to understand irrelevant things. Is that so? Shiwana nodded and said, "I'm studying for a master's degree in Shanghai." "Were those your classmates last time?" Cai Hongming was talking about the car breaking down in the desert. "I get angry when I talk about that. It's fine if you didn't help, but you scolded my friend and almost made her cry." Shiwana said indignantly. "What do you mean I didn't help? I was the one who called the car mechanic for you. Otherwise how could you have gone back so quickly?" "So it was you who called the car mechanic? I thought it was my dad." "It was dark when your dad got there, and you girls must have been eaten by wolves over there." "Nonsense. Where are there wolves in the desert? Have you never heard of it? Recently, the sheep on the grassland in Linjiagao on the edge of the desert were bitten by wild wolves. Now that the environment is well protected, the wolves are back. You have to be careful when you go out in the future. Don't get eaten." Cai Hongming threatened Shiwana. "I think we should be on guard against wolves like you." Shiwana was not fooled. "But she has to be able to withstand a punch from you." Cai Hongming was not annoyed when he saw that he was exposed and said jokingly, "Humph." When Shiwana heard him mention this, she thought of what happened that day and turned her head away in dissatisfaction. No one can stand seeing the person they are dating talking and laughing with other women, but Zuan turned around again, biting her lower lip, and whispered in Cai Hongming's ear, "I didn't tell anyone about the last time. Don't tell anyone about it." Cai Hongming glanced at her. Who would say that? Is it glorious for a man to be beaten like that by a woman? "Wanna come and meet your uncle Liu?" Shiming called over there. "Here I come." Shiwana responded and said to Cai Hongming, "Then I'll go over there." "Okay." After Shiwana left, Xiaopang moved over with golden eyes and whispered to Cai Hongming, "Brother Bird, is that your girlfriend? She is so beautiful, like a fairy." "Yes, she may be your sister-in-law in the future," Cai Hongming boasted. He was not afraid that Shiwana would find out and punch him in the left eye again. Chapter 47, Dirty Ziwifeng. Shiwana sat beside her father obediently, pouring wine for Lao Liu and his father, but her eyes kept glancing at Cai Hongming. Perhaps, as early as junior high school, she had already buried a trace of affection with her own hands. It was just that she was a fat ugly duckling at that time, and he was a handsome young man who attracted everyone's attention, so she had always buried this affection in her heart, and dared not express it. Now that she thinks about it, when he savagely took away her eraser and pen and teased her, although her expression was angry, she was actually happy in her heart. Because he paid attention to her, and did not despise her, because of her fatness and ugliness. Although he called her a fat woman, it was a joke, and never had any malice. Perhaps it was because of this that she fell in love with him secretly at that time. So much so that after her mother asked her to go on a blind date, she hesitated and agreed. Otherwise, with her face and waist, why would she need to succumb to this poor barbecue boy? Yes, it was succumbing. Shiwana raised her chin proudly, thinking complacently. After Cai Hongming finished grilling the mutton skewers that Liu wanted, he saw that the little fat boy could handle it by himself, so he took 2 skewers of mutton and ate them comfortably beside him. Shh. While eating, Ziwi Feng, who was eating at the table next to him, shushed him and motioned him to come over to talk. Cai Hongming replied unhappily, "What are you shushing for? You're waking me up in the middle of the night to pee." Seeing that he couldn't stand it, Ziwi Feng moved his chair to Cai Hongming's side, glanced at Shiwana who was accompanying her father over there, and asked curiously, "Is that beauty your girlfriend? From our town? How come I have never seen her before?" "I don't know her," Cai Hongming joked. Ziwi Feng shook his head again and again. "Are you kidding? He has seen all kinds of beautiful girls in the town, and such a top-notch one is simply unheard of. Do you remember the fat woman who used to sit in front of me?" "Of course I remember. She was so fat that she looked like a spinning top. It seems that the girls in her dormitory even gave her a nickname called Luo, right?" "I don't know about that," Cai Hongming said, looking around. "There is something you don't know about the person who sat in front of you. You bullied her a lot back then. I forgot that you made her cry once, and her father came to settle the score with you," Ziwi Feng said with contempt. At that time, Cai Hongming didn't know that Shiwana's father was the director of the police station, so he was fearless and often bullied her for fun. Later, he bullied her and made her cry and even provoked her father. It was nothing at that time because he had just come here to study in junior high school. Later, some blind guys in the town bullied him from the south and even came to cause trouble for him. He taught him a lesson very rudely. Because he was too heavy-handed, he was taken to the police station and was targeted by his father. Fortunately, his father had some friendship with him, otherwise he would be finished, so he restrained himself from causing trouble for Shiwana later. After all, she had a father who worked in the police station, so he didn't dare to do anything too reckless. At that time, he was still young and ignorant. Thinking about it now, it was really childish, as it can be said that just when we were young, we were in our prime, the students were full of vigor and ambition, and we were full of vigor and ambition. "By the way, why are you talking about this old story?" Ziwi Feng asked in confusion. "She is the fat woman," Cai Hongming said leisurely. "No way." Ziwi Feng widened his eyes in surprise and couldn't help looking at Shiwana. After a few careful glances, he whispered secretly, "She didn't go for plastic surgery, did she? Do you want me to ask for you?" Cai Hongming said playfully. No. Ziwi Feng remembered that the fat woman's father seemed to be a policeman, and now he has been promoted to the city. If she was unhappy with what he said and caused trouble for him, he would be finished. "What are you talking about?" Shiwana saw the two people talking furtively and looking at her from time to time. She guessed that they were not going to say anything good, so she walked over. "I said you were the fat woman who sat in front of me before, but he didn't believe it, so he told me. Hello, I'm Ziwi Feng, a good friend of Hongming." Seeing that Cai Hongming was about to continue talking, Ziwi Feng interrupted him quickly. If he told others about his plastic surgery, people would hate him to death. Girls don't like people saying these things about them, even if they really had plastic surgery. Seeing him like this, Cai Hongming didn't want to make things worse, so he introduced him. "Let me introduce you. This is the black-faced Feng who used to be in our school and bullied little girls all day long. We are old classmates after all. Brother Big Bird, please don't slander me. When did I bully girls?" Ziwi Feng shouted. "You still say no, but I remember that time you brought some firecrackers and threw them everywhere, and the worst thing was that you even threw them at girls." Seeing that he didn't admit it, Cai Hongming started talking. Hearing that he was going to pour out the embarrassing things in the past, Ziwi Feng quickly grabbed him and said, "Brother Big Bird, please be more gentle with your words, okay? That incident really couldn't be mentioned. Otherwise, if there is a class reunion in the future, he would be the public enemy of the students. Because that thing was indeed a bit unethical. At that time, the toilets in the school were very old, the kind where many people squatted, and you could see the fertilizer underneath. He took the firecrackers and threw them under the girl's squatting toilet. At that time, the firecrackers exploded, and the consequences can be imagined. He was young and frivolous, and didn't know much. Now he feels ashamed when he thinks about it, and he doesn't know why he did such a stupid thing at that time. Is there any secret you can't tell? Shiwan asked with her beautiful big eyes blinking, and then smiled, and said to Ziwi Feng, I know you. You are the black-faced Feng who bullied little girls in the 2nd grade. People call you Brother Feng. See, the eyes of the masses are sharp. She knows it, even if I don't say it. Cai Hongming raised his eyebrows at Ziwi Feng. Bad guys can't hide. I really didn't bully girls. Ziwi Feng refused to admit it, and he couldn't admit such things. Just like the United States' attack on Iraq and Afghanistan, can it be said that it was for oil? No, it can only be said that it was a fight for justice. You still say no, but that time in the corridor, I saw you reaching into the window and touching the girl's face. Shiwana bluntly exposed the bad things he did when he sat down. Ziwi Feng was embarrassed this time. He didn't expect that someone else saw that thing. That time he really recognized the wrong person. He thought the person sitting in the window was his friend, so he reached in from the window corridor outside to touch his face as a joke, but he didn't expect to touch the wrong person. He was embarrassed for a long time. Alas, the world is really going downhill and people's hearts are not as good as they used to be. Ah Feng, you can even do such a dirty thing. I'm embarrassed to say that you are my friend. Cai Hongming said with a look of regret. Come on, you haven't done much good yourself. Ziwi Feng said contemptuously. At least I didn't touch girls' faces like you did, right? This, I can't tell you. Ziwi Feng was too lazy to continue talking to him, and turned to Shiwana and said, Classmate Shi, do you want to eat something together? No, I'll eat over there. After that, Shiwana pulled Cai Hongming aside and said dissatisfiedly, why are you telling people that I was the fat woman in the previous class again? What else do you want me to say? Anyway, you can't call me a fat woman. Girls always don't want to mention their bad image in the past. What should I say? If someone asks me, do I have to say that you are the commander's daughter? Then they will know that you are the fat woman sitting in front of me. In fact, you don't have to care about it. It's just a nickname. Who would have thought that you are now beautiful and charming like a flower, and you are the girl who used to be like a spinning top? Cai Hongming pouted. He couldn't connect the girl who used to be like a pile of shit with the graceful woman in front of him. That's right. Shiwana raised her tail proudly, but she felt that his words were a bit strange. Why do I feel that you are not complimenting me? It's definitely a compliment. Cai Hongming said hurriedly. Anyway, you can't call me a fat woman anymore in the future. Do you understand? Shiwana looked at Cai Hongming fiercely and said, yes, madam. Cai Hongming saluted with his head held high and just puffed out with a serious face, pretending. Shiwana glared at him, with disdain on her face, but full of joy in her heart, and turned back to his father happily. Chapter 48 Earth and Nest. Brother Big Bird, I didn't realize you're quite good at picking up girls. When will you show us your tricks? Let us see them. After Shiwana left, Ziwi Feng ran over again. Seeing Cai Hongming staring at Shiwana's graceful figure as she left, with his eyes almost bulging out, he couldn't help but tease her. Since it's a trick, do you think I'll tell anyone about it? Cai Hongming said arrogantly. Come on. You're so awesome when you say you can do it. The white yak next door, Shine ZHU, is almost blown up by you. With those two tricks, you can fool little girls in kindergarten, but if you want to pick up girls, you have to learn from me. Don't you know I'm the love saint of Gillam? Ziwi Feng shook his long hair in front of his forehead, looking cool and handsome, and said coquettishly. Cai Hongming squinted at him and said indifferently, love saint, I think you are more like a beast. Have you forgotten the time when you were flirting with girls in school and got splashed with water? Everyone says it was a misunderstanding, okay? Ziwi Feng said angrily. He was really unlucky that time. He didn't check the day when he went out. That day he went out to find a friend and met a girl on the way. As luck would have it, they were going the same way. He followed the girl wherever she went. Coincidentally, the girl happened to be a girl in the school and she knew him. She knew that he was a bad guy who specialized in bullying people in the school. She thought he was going to do something bad to her and was nervous all the way. They walked through a street, 3 stores, 5 corners, and then turned into an alley. The girl saw that he was still following her and she immediately ran in a panic. After a while, she ran into a house in front. He was just looking for a friend who lived here, so he went to knock on the door. Unexpectedly, before he knocked, the door opened by itself, and then a bucket of cold water was poured on his head. This was not the end. Then the girl came to hit him fiercely with a stick as thick as an arm, and she was yelling, "Kill you bastard, kill you bastard." Fortunately, his family heard the noise and ran out to stop the girl who was about to attack him. Otherwise he would probably be beaten to death by the girl. But even so, he was hit several times and his body was bruised. However, he was very familiar with his brother, so it was difficult to pursue the matter, so he had to admit that he was beaten in order to pick up girls. He was so angry that his lungs almost exploded. If he had done this, he would have admitted it, but unfortunately he didn't. He was really more angry than happy, and it felt like it was almost snowing in June. People who knew him always liked to talk about this incident when they encountered the problem of picking up girls. It has almost become a classic example of teaching by example. Zhi Weifeng was already immune to what these people said, and regardless of Cai Hongming's cheesing, he said, "Big Bird, we are going to have a picnic in a few days and make a mud nest. Do you want to go?" "No," Cai Hongming said decisively. The mud nest Zhi Weifeng was talking about was the same as the tribute sweet potato in southern Fujian. They all dug a pit at the bottom and then used dried soil blocks to build an earthen kiln or a nest on top. However, the mud nest they wanted to offer at the end was filled with potatoes, while the one in southern Fujian was filled with sweet potatoes. Speaking of this, he had to complain. Every time they went on a picnic, these bird people would not only make mud nests to offer potatoes, but also go to the stream not far from the edge of the forest to fish for sand loaches that were only as thick as a little finger and about 10 centimeters long to make soup. He wanted to vomit after eating them. He didn't understand why potatoes, which were tasteless, were so delicious, but these people actually offered potatoes every time. So he went there once and didn't go again. After eating potatoes, he came back and farted all day long, and it smelled like potatoes. Damn it. I really don't want to go. This time we got a dog and planned to cook it there. Zhi Weifeng understood his thoughts and tempted him. Really, what color? Cai Hongming was a little tempted. Eating dog meat on such a day would undoubtedly be a very enjoyable thing. Black. Wouldn't it be a pug? Don't worry, it's a local dog. Okay, call me then. Cai Hongming finally couldn't resist the temptation and nodded. Well, but it's agreed that you will take care of the dog. There are several recipes for cooking with meat in Cai Hongming's family ointment recipes. Eating them can strengthen the body and nourish yin and yang, so he came to him, and the same was true for the beef last time. Okay, but you have to kill it and cut it into pieces, otherwise it will be difficult to handle at that time, and you have to prepare a big pot to cook it. I know. The two made an appointment, and Zhi Weifeng went back to eat with his group of friends. Cai Hongming had nothing to do, and when he saw that there were customers adding dishes, he went over to help. While he was busy, he looked towards Shiwana, and she happened to look over at him. When their eyes met, it seemed as if a thread of love was slowly lingering in their hearts. Now was the time for the listing, and there were too many people to handle it. Seeing that the little fat man was too busy, Cai Hongming went to help grill the lamb skewers. After he was done, after grilling, he looked up and saw that the little brat Yaya who hit him in the eye last time was held in her mother's arms, and there was a man next to her who seemed to be her father. Several people walked towards this side slowly. "Dad, this bad uncle often bullies me." When he got closer, he heard Yaya pointing at him and complaining to her father. "How did I bully you? I remember it was you who hit me last time." Cai Hongming said, "That's because you pretended to be a puppy and wanted to bite me, so I hit you. Last time in my sister's shop, you scratched my golden hoop into mud and spanked my little butt. Dad, he is a bad guy." "Okay, yeah, he is Dad's friend. You have to call him uncle from now on. You know, you can't be impolite." Yaya's father said. "I think it's uncle." Cai Hongming corrected. "He is 1 year older than him. The man in front of him is called Gulixin, a town man and his junior high school classmate." Later, he married a wife and moved to the city to sell tea. He hasn't seen him for a while. Looking back, it seems that he is 1 year older than me. Gulixon smiled, looked at the barbecue stall, and said, "It looks like business is good. Not bad. Aren't you selling tea in the city? How come you have time to come back? The rent over there is expensive, and the business is not good. I think the rent here is cheaper, and the environment is not worse than there, so I moved back. Even if I can't sell it, don't I still have your father? I remember that your father drinks a lot of tea every month. It must be good tea, and cheap, otherwise don't even think about selling it to him. Auntie, auntie." The two were talking when they suddenly heard Ye waving and calling to the front. Cai Hongming turned his head and saw Shiwana coming in gracefully. At this time, he remembered that he seemed to hear Ye calling Shiwana auntie in the bakery. It is true that like aunt, like nephew, and they are not easy to mess with. "Auntie, hold me, auntie, hold me." Ye struggled in her mother's arms to let Shiwana hold her. Her mother Shizaoing had no choice but to let Shiwana take over. Ye is obviously closer to her aunt than to her mother. As soon as she was held by Shiwana, she whispered in her ear and looked at Cai Hongming warily while talking. "You don't need to listen to know that it is not a good thing." I don't know what she said, but it made Shiwana giggle. Seeing Cai Hongming curiously looking over, Shiwana couldn't help but glare at him and said, "People like this should be beaten." Yes, needless to say, she must be talking about the time when she hit him in the eye at the bus stop. This little brat really deserves to be punished. I must beat her butt someday. This little girl is not only unlovable, but extremely unlovable. Chapter 49. Auntie, are you going to have a baby? Yeah, should call Shiwana auntie. I made a mistake. Now I have corrected it. Gulixon was with Shiwana and the others, so they sat at the same table. After a while, Cai Hongming's parents came and sat at their table. The table was crowded and noisy, and it was very lively. Cai Hongming, on the other hand, was kept being ordered by his mother to grill kebabs, serve dishes, and buy drinks for Ye, Shiwana, Shizaoing and other women. He was very busy. Fortunately, when Ye saw the sea buckthorn juice that Cai Hongming bought, her impression of this bad uncle changed a little. She felt that this bad uncle could still make friends if only he could buy her sea buckthorn juice every day. Sea buckthorn fruit has a nickname called sour, which is the fruit of the sea buckthorn tree. Sea buckthorn trees have high nutritional value, ecological value and economic value, especially in the construction of the 3 North Shelter Belt. It is still the end of the sea buckthorn harvest season, so there are freshly squeezed sea buckthorn juices for sale in the town. The original taste of sea buckthorn fruit is sour and astringent, but after squeezing the juice and mixing it with other juices, the sour taste will be neutralized by the other juices, and the original taste will be extracted, sour and sweet, with a unique flavor, which is very popular with girls, especially children. Hongming, come here. After eating, everyone at the table chatted together, and Meluanfeng called her son over, then took Shiwana's hand, and said to him, "This is Wana, you have seen him too, you were classmates before, and you bullied him a lot. If it weren't for your father's face, his father would have dealt with you long ago." After that, she said to Shiwana, "You have also seen Hongming, he has no shortcomings, he is honest and simple, and he is a responsible and motivated child. If he dares to bully you in the future, tell your aunt, and see how I deal with him." Although Shiwana has a cheerful personality, she couldn't help but lower her head in shame when she heard Ma Luanfeng's formal introduction. Cai Hongming stood there blankly, listening to the conversation, feeling strange under the constant glances of the people around him. He felt like he was just a thing being sold in the market, and his mother was the one who boasted about her goods. Meluanfeng introduced them to each other and said, "We are talking here. Wana must be bored here. Hongming, take her for a walk. Don't you have a strange scorpion? Take her to see it. Wana, Hongming has a scorpion over there, which looks like glass. Ask him to take you to see the novelty." As she said that, Meluanfeng made a look at her son, and asked him to take Shiwana for a walk. This was the rhythm of matchmaking. Cai Hongming had no choice but to invite Shiwana, otherwise he would probably be scolded to death by his mother when he returned home later. Shiwana couldn't refuse, so she said something to her father and stood up generously. Unexpectedly, Ye became interested when she heard Ma Luanfeng say that there was a scorpion like glass and clamored to go and see it. Yeah, you and mom and dad will be fine here. Shi Xiaoying said. No, I want to go see scorpions with my aunt. Ye twisted her body unwillingly. Although Shiwana and Cai Hongming were classmates before, they haven't been in touch for a long time. Although they have met 2 or 3 times before, they are not very familiar with each other. Now that they are alone, the shyness of a girl makes her heart beat fast, and she doesn't know what to say. She thinks that bringing a child can also avoid embarrassment. So, she said, let Ye stay with me, I will take her home later. Seeing her say that, Ye clamored to go again, and Shi Xiaoying had no choice but to let Ye follow her. Cai Hongming and Shiwana took Ye home, and the little fat boy's eyes almost popped out of his head with envy. Silence all the way. Shiwana hugged Ye tightly, as if she wanted to get strength from her weak body. Cai Hongming didn't know what to say. He used to be a talkative person at the barbecue stall. Sometimes he could give some advice when he encountered his friend's emotional problems. Now it was his turn, but he didn't know what to do. Ye was held in Shiwana's arms, and she didn't say anything. She just looked at this and that with her pair of black eyes. I don't know what she was thinking. The clinic was closed. Cai Hongming opened the door and turned on the light to let the 2 in, and then closed the door to prevent anyone from coming in. Then, he took Shiwana and Ye upstairs. There was a hall upstairs with a set of soft velvet sofas and a large screen LCD TV. Cai Hongming turned on the TV for them to watch and asked, what do you want to drink? No, I just ate a lot and my stomach is full. Shiwana was a little reserved when she came to a stranger's house, but Ye was not polite at all. She said, I want sea buckthorn juice. She hadn't drunk enough just now. Didn't you drink it just now? Shiwana asked. I only drank a little. Ye pointed her little finger. Shiwana rolled her eyes. It should be a big cup, not a little bit. Is it not too much trouble? Shiwana said to Cai Hongming embarrassedly. No trouble, I have some at home. Sea buckthorn fruit is rich in vitamin C, which can clear away heat and stimulate appetite. Therefore, when fresh sea buckthorn fruit is on the market, Cai Hongming will buy some freshly squeezed sea buckthorn juice and other freshly squeezed juices at home, so that he can mix them whenever he wants. Cai Hongming went to mix 3 cups of juice. Ye sat aside and drank the juice and watched cartoons obediently while Shiwana leaned beside her, lowered her head, and drank the juice, and no one knew what she was thinking. It is hard to imagine that she, who had a big fight in the coffee shop, also has such a ladylike side. Cai Hongming laughed secretly, but he didn't laugh, otherwise she would get angry. After drinking the juice, he walked into the house and took out the crystal scorpion. After he fed the jade toad liquid, this thing became more and more intelligent. It could vaguely understand human words and would not attack people easily, so Cai Hongming felt relieved to take it out for them to see. As soon as Ye saw the crystal scorpion that Cai Hongming brought out, she screamed with excitement. She stopped watching cartoons and drinking juice and rushed over immediately. What a cute scorpion, uncle, is it alive? Ye blinked and looked at Cai Hongming. Yeah. Cai Hongming nodded and put the scorpion on the glass coffee table in front of the plush sofa for her to see. Ye lay in front of the crystal scorpion curiously and couldn't help but reach out to touch it. No. Shiwana shouted hurriedly after seeing it and stretched out her hand to grab the hand that was stretched out to her. Cai Hongming also stretched out his hand and grabbed Shiwana's hand. Shiwana had never been in such close contact with a man other than her father. Suddenly, a stinging body temperature spread from the back of her hand to the palm of her hand, and then to her arm, and she was actually a little soft and weak for a while. The soft and tender feeling he felt was like jade. Cai Hongming could not help but gently pinch it. He was stunned, dumbfounded, and stupid for a moment. Aunt, what are you doing holding hands? Are you playing games? Suddenly, Ye's voice came from the side. She quickly touched the scorpion and stretched her hand back. She did not expect that the hands of the aunt and the bad uncle had been stretched out and held together for a long time without any movement. She was curious and asked, The two noticed something strange and quickly stretched their hands back. Shiwana's ears turned red for some reason. Cai Hongming withdrew his hand, still feeling the strange tenderness. There seemed to be a fragrance like orchid in the palm of his hand. He could not help but put it in front of his nose and smelled it. It looked a bit lewd and a bit ecstatic. Shiwana was very embarrassed when she saw it, bit her lower lip, and kicked him angrily. Cai Hongming came to his senses and retracted his hand embarrassedly, but the smell always lingered in front of his nose, making people so fascinated. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 50. Auntie, are you going to have a baby? Ye looked at the crystal scorpion and at her aunt and Cai Hongming. She felt that the two looked very strange, so she tilted her head and asked curiously, "Bad uncle, do you want to make friends with my aunt?" "Yeah, you can't be rude, you have to call uncle," Shiwana taught her. Oh. Cai Hongming wanted to remind her to call uncle, but the two families were not related, so there was no need to be so serious. Besides, calling uncle also made her look younger. "Uncle, do you like my aunt?" Ye asked again. Cai Hongming didn't know why this brat asked so many stupid questions, making friends and liking, so he asked, "Do you know what liking is?" "Of course I know. There are many boys in our class who like me and want to make friends with me, but I don't like them. They are just brats, especially that fat guy who doesn't give me delicious food, so I don't want to be friends with him." Ye folded her hands and turned her head and said angrily. Cai Hongming was speechless after hearing this. What's wrong with children nowadays? Is he too old to keep up with the times, or are children nowadays too mature? "Uncle, did you kiss my aunt?" Ye asked mysteriously again. "Yeah, don't talk nonsense," Shiwana said shyly. "Aunt, I didn't talk nonsense," Ye said seriously. "Mom said that girls can't kiss boys casually, otherwise they will get pregnant and give birth to children. But when I grow up, I can be as big as my aunt. My mother gave birth to me because she kissed my father. Mom said that I look like her, so I'm so beautiful. If I look like my father, I will become an ugly monster. Mom also said that boys can look like their fathers. It doesn't matter if they are ugly, so as not to mess around with flowers and grass." Cai Hongming couldn't help laughing. Gulixen's wife really dares to say anything. Shiwana also had a strange look on her face. "Aunt, what is flirting with flowers and grass?" Ye asked Shiwana, puzzled. "It means liking flowers and grass," Shiwana explained. "Can't I like both? I like flowers and grass." "No, you can only like one. Think about it. If you like flowers, grass will definitely be unhappy. If you like grass, flowers will be unhappy. So you can only like one." It was the first time that Cai Hongming heard that flirting could be explained in this way. It must be said that being well educated is different. Many things are beyond the imagination of us mortals. "Oh, so, auntie, do you and uncle kiss?" Ye asked naively. "Why are you asking this? Mom often kisses my dad, day and night, and they want to give me a little brother. Auntie, do you want to give birth to a little brother too?" "What nonsense are you talking about?" Shiwana secretly pouted, thinking that her cousin and her husband didn't care about the child at all and let her see everything. Don't they know that this will lead the child astray? "Aunt, I didn't say anything nonsense," Ye taught Shiwana with a serious face. "Aunt, when you have children in the future, you must not give birth to a brother. He will look like uncle, so ugly. You must give birth to a little sister, so that she can be as beautiful as aunt. I'm so beautiful, because I look like my mother." Ye held her little face and posed conceitedly. Cai Hongming rolled his eyes. Shiwana chuckled and glanced at Cai Hongming. She thought that he was indeed very ugly. Thinking of this, she couldn't help laughing again. Cai Hongming was puzzled by her laughter. Ye's innocent words made Shiwana and Cai Hongming ease the awkward atmosphere just now and started talking. "Aren't you studying for a master's degree? Why are you still in Gilling?" Cai Hongming asked. "I'm mainly writing my thesis now, so I have plenty of time. I heard from auntie that you're going to buy a large piece of desert to plant land, right?" Yes, but I'm still negotiating with the county government. If it's cheap, I'll buy it. The two chatted slowly, while Ye looked at the crystal scorpion on the side. Unknowingly, it was late at night, and Chihuahua said goodbye and left. Overall, the two felt good about this meeting, and there are opportunities for further development. Early in the morning, Cai Hongming, who was still asleep, was awakened by his mother's scream. Not knowing what happened, he jumped out of bed and ran out. When he came to the room where his parents slept, Cai Hongming saw his mother yelling in front of the mirror, "Fu, look, is my waist thinner? Are the wrinkles on my face gone? Are my hands more tender? Is my skin whiter? And is my butt less raised?" Cai Hongming almost fell down when he heard this, thinking to himself, "Mom, are you still dreaming, yelling about this early in the morning?" If he wasn't at home, he would have thought something big had happened. Cai Fu was also frightened by his wife's scream. When he heard her words, he wanted to bang his head against the wall. He immediately advised kindly, "Luanfeng, if you have nothing to do, go and wash the rice and cook. Otherwise, when you go to the vegetable market to buy vegetables later, all the vegetable vendors will have left. Why are you leaving?" "They can't leave if I'm not going to buy anything." Luanfeng turned around and gave Cai Fu a cold look. Suddenly, as if she had discovered a new continent, she said in surprise, "Hey, old man, you seem to have become younger too. Are you sure you are not sleepwalking?" "You are sleepwalking. What I said is true," Luanfeng said seriously. Suddenly, she saw her son turning around and leaving outside the door, and hurriedly shouted, "Hongming, come and see if your dad has become younger." "Mom, haven't you washed your face yet? If not, go wash it and wake up. Don't daydream here," Cai Hongming said weakly. "You little brat, are you itchy? How dare you say that to your mom?" "I'm telling the truth. Come and take a look." Under the urging of his mom, Cai Hongming had no choice but to go over. After taking a look, he suddenly found that his parents really seemed to be much younger. Their appearance was not changed, but their mental temperament was completely different from yesterday. They were energetic and radiant, as if they had become much younger. What happened? Suddenly, Cai Hongming remembered the gourd of wine that his mom and dad drank yesterday. Could it be because of that? If so, the wine and the gourd is simply a panacea. "Do you think your dad has become younger?" Luanfeng asked from the side. Cai Hongming touched the sparse beard on his chin, nodded and said, "Well, he has become at least 10 years younger. The same goes for you, Mom. If you don't look carefully, people would think you are a 17 or 18-year-old virgin." Cai Fu was drinking water, and he suddenly spit it out after hearing it. Luanfeng thought she was a fool if she still couldn't hear her son's cheesing. She was immediately angry and said, "You bastard, you even dare to tease your mother. Are you really itching for trouble?" Seeing his mother angry, Cai Hongming ran away. If he stayed any longer, he would probably have to eat fried shrimps with bamboo sticks. Luanfeng was interrupted by him, so she didn't pursue whether her waist became thicker or thinner and younger. She combed her hair casually and went downstairs to cook. Chapter 51 Picnic. Cai Hongming returned to his room and stood in front of the mirror for a long time. He found that he did not become younger after drinking the wine and the gourd. Instead, he felt more handsome, a bit like a white dragon in the waves. After thinking about it, it should be because he drank less. Yesterday, the wine and the purple gourd was drunk by both his mother and father. He did not expect that there was such a treasure in the gourd. It seems that the remaining gourd should be kept for good use, so as not to waste them. The news of the world's largest sweet potato was hot for a few days, and it came to an end after Cai Hongming auctioned the sweet potato. After all, the sweet potato has been sold, and he is not a star. This news has no value for further exploration, so the news about the world's largest sweet potato gradually disappeared and faded out of people's sight. Cai Hongming's life returned to peace. After breakfast in the morning, Cai Hongming walked to Tuobereniu's super powerful auto repair shop. He has been busy recently, and he has forgotten the agreement with Tuobereniu when he was racing. Today is the time for that guy to fulfill his promise. Cheoniu Auto Repair Shop is located in the northeast corner of Ginnan County, some distance from his home. When Cai Hongming arrived, he saw several workers in the repair shop busy at work. He often came here and a slightly younger worker greeted him when he saw him. "Brother Bird is here. Well, why are you here again? Didn't you go to school?" After graduating from elementary school, this mechanic didn't want to study anymore, so he came to Cheoneo Auto Repair Shop as an apprentice. When his parents found out, they took him back to junior high school, but he came back again. What's the point of studying? In the end, I still work in a factory. I work so hard and only earn 2 or 3,000 yuan a month. I might as well stay here and repair cars, the young mechanic said confidently. What he said may not be the sadness of today's society. A family works hard to raise children, hoping that they will have a promising future. Who knows that, after graduating from college, they still work for others, and some even can't even work for others, and go home to farm and raise pigs. Although these are always of survival, it is funny to say that. If I had known this, why would I have studied in the past? I wasted so many years of youth and money. This is also the confusion of modern education. You can't say that. Reading is always good. Just like you repair cars. If you don't read and don't know English, can you understand the English letters on the parts? Cai Hongming persuaded, trying to pull back a misguided teenager. Come on. Some people still can't read English even if they read. Tuoba walked out and said disdainfully, "You are talking about yourself." Cai Hongming said, "I'm talking about you. You studied for 3 years, but in the end you only got 9 points in the English test. You have the nerve to talk about others here. Archaeological, it's okay. Continue to learn to repair cars here. When your skills are good in a few months, I will give you a raise." Tuoba said angrily. Speaking of the 9 points in English, Cai Hongming felt unlucky. He was actually studying very seriously, but he had a headache when he saw English. In the end, he only learned a few words, like "I love you," "good morning," and didn't understand anything else. During the high school entrance examination, he was dazzled by the pile of English multiple choice questions. So he chose A for all of them. As luck would have it, there were only a few people who chose A for the answer on that test paper, and he only got 9 points in the end. I don't know who saw the score and spread it out, making it known to everyone, which made him very embarrassed. Seeing that Tuoba was so disrespectful, Cai Hongming said angrily, "You are hiring child labor. Be careful of being reported." "I didn't hire him. He came here by himself." Tuoba hurriedly distanced himself. "I want to learn it myself. It has nothing to do with brother Niu." Akaiang also said beside him. "This guy probably sold him and still counted the money." Cai Hongming shook his head and didn't care about him, so he asked Tuoba to fulfill his promise to modify the car for him when racing. Tuoba was not vague and drove out directly to take him to another warehouse where the car was stored. The warehouse is in a village on the edge of the county town. It is far away from the village, and sometimes it is more convenient to store some things and do some illegal work. When they arrived at the place, Tuoba took Cai Hongming to the warehouse. "Here, this is it." Tuoba lifted the canvas covering the car and said to Cai Hongming. Cai Hongming looked carefully and found that the car was of good model, with faded camouflage on the outside, similar to the cars used by domestic riot police. It was taller and more powerful than the Hummer, and looked extremely tough, but the exterior was mottled, the windows were broken, and it looked a bit old. Most importantly, the top of the car seemed to have been pressed by something, and it was a bit flat. "What is this thing?" Cai Hongming asked. "How about that scrapped armored vehicle from Russia? It's huge. Don't be fooled by its tattered appearance. Actually, there's nothing wrong with the things inside. You can use it after some modifications. If you use it to carry cattle and sheep, it can at least carry a dozen sheep and a dozen cows." Cai Hongming took a look at this scrapped armored vehicle, which was similar to a truck, and felt it was okay, so he asked, "How much?" "It doesn't have to be much. Just give me a few 100,000 for your four-wheeled motorcycle." "Damn, you're robbing me. You want so much money for this broken car? I might as well continue to drive my four-wheeled motorcycle." "You can't say that, brother Bird. Look at this car and its momentum. It's something a man should drive. Your four-wheeled motorcycle is nothing compared to it. Besides, the performance of this car I modified will definitely not be too bad. The things inside have to be reinstalled. Things like satellite navigation, air conditioning, CD speakers, and airbags must all be installed. A few $100,000 is not expensive at all. Speaking of which, Cai Hongming has wanted a car like this for a long time. This kind of sturdy car is a man's dream. But what he likes is the Subnight 15th, not the broken car in front of him. However, that kind of car costs several million. Even if he auctioned off the sweet potato and now has a net worth of more than 3 million, it is still not enough to buy that kind of car. Relatively speaking, the car in front of him, that costs hundreds of thousands, is more suitable. After thinking about it, Cai Hongming felt that it was okay, so he asked, "Can you pay in installments?" "No. Bird brother. You have to pay in installments for hundreds of thousands. You are now a millionaire. Don't you blush when you say that?" To Ober-Niu was furious. "Don't whine. I want to pay in installments. If you don't want it, forget it." Although he has several million, he still has to buy land. In the end, he doesn't know how much money he will have left. He doesn't want to spend the money here. To Ober-Niu thought about it. Anyway, this car was bought from Russia at the price of scrap metal. It is not worth much money at all. It is not bad to be able to make some money by reselling it, so he nodded and agreed. Seeing that he agreed, Cai Hongming began to look at the car again, and then asked to modify the car. To Ober-Niu did a few things beside him. After it was done, he left. A few days later, the day he and Ziwei Feng agreed to have a picnic came. Cai Hongming thought of Shiwana for no reason, and he didn't know if she had gone to school, so he tried to call her. Unexpectedly, she was still in Giling, so he asked her out for a picnic. Shiwana had been bored at home these days. Apart from playing with Yaya, she had nowhere to go, so she agreed when she heard his call. On this day, the weather was fine, and Ziwei Feng led a group of people to the Ermizi River on the outskirts of Giling. The Ermizi River is a small river flowing out of the mountains. The water is not big, but it is very clear, and there are some small fish in the water. The group arrived at the place to set up camp, and began to get busy. Some collected firewood, some dug holes, and built earthen nests, and some fished. Cai Hongming also found some big stones from the riverside to build a stone stove, put the iron pot on it, and then took out the medicinal materials he brought and processed the dog meat. Yaya came with Shiwana. It was a rare occasion for Yaya to come out, so she happily ran around and looked around, and even took out her kite to fly. There were also a few girls with her, watching her fly the kite, and they shouted, "Come on," with childish innocence, and Yaya's face was flushed with excitement. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.